mangyari, the next election would still be on December 2025 as stated in RA number 11935. So kaya mahalaga po yung election na ito kasi kung titignan natin yung mga current barangay and SK officials natin, they've been in their positions since 2018 or 5 years na. And dumaan na rin yung pandemya sa kanila. So ngayon na magkakaroon tayo ng election, this will be the first time for a lot of you, for a lot of the Filipino youth na magbumoto. So kaya around 23 million yung youth voters natin. At this would be the first time that they would participate in the electoral process, which is a very important responsibility of a citizen. So the calendar is malapit na po ang October 19, which would mean that campaigning would start. So as of now, hindi pa pwede ang kampanya. And then on October 30, yun na po yung election. So although automated na yung last elections, previous national elections natin, our barangay election would still be manual. Although there would be pilot testing in some places here in Metro Manila. Most, I think 3 barangays lang yung pilot test. Most of the barangays would still hold manual elections. Pero magkakaroon na rin ng more voting, and then time of voting would be from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. lang. And emergency accessible polling places for vulnerable voters. This means yung mga persons with disabilities, senior citizens, they can vote up to 1 p.m. So pagka 3 p.m. na, tapos hindi ka pa nakaboto, but you are within the premises of your polling precinct, i-accommodate pa rin naman po kayo ng barangay. So I know that this would be focused on SK, pero ang pahapyaw lang, ano ba yung barangay? Kasi yung SK, it's still part of yung barangay official, although independent ang Sangguniang Kabataan. So barangay is the basic political unit, which serves as the primary planning and implementing unit of the government. So ang lahat ng bilang mga mamamayan, ang unang touch natin sa gobyerno ay usually barangay. May problema sa ganito, lapit kay kapitan. May problema may kailangan ganito, lalapit sa barangay. Pag may nag-away na magkapitbahay, sa barangay din yan. So napakahalaga po ng barangay. Kaya kahit na hindi national yung scope or hindi buong bayan yung scope, mahalaga na mapag-isipan natin kung sino yung mga i-elect nating barangay officials kasi sila yung mas malapit sa atin. Sila yung first na lalapitan natin at sa kanila rin yung through them din yung serbisyo ng gobyerno. And then there's the Sangguniang Kabataan. So ano nga ba yung Sangguniang Kabataan? So ang Sangguniang Kabataan, ito yung nagli-lead sa Katipunan ng Kabataan. Ang Katipunan ng Kabataan, ito yung voters or citizens ng barangay na at least 15 but not more than 30 years of age. So may mga registered voters. Ang Katipunan ang highest policy-making body. So ibig sabihin, kung may mga programa, polisiya na gustong gawin yung mga kabataan sa isang barangay, yung Katipunan ng Kabataan, sila yung nagli-lead nun. So mapapansin nyo na binibigyan ng independence yung mga kabataan na mag-decide for themselves to decide on policies, programs that they would want for their general welfare. Siyempre, subject to limitations din yan, pero binibigyan ng chance ng batas yung kabataan na mag-decide. So yung Katipunan ng Kabataan meetings, usually once every 6 months yan at the call of the SK chairman. So sino naman yung nililid dito sa kabataan ng Katipunan ng Kabataan? Ito na yung Sangguniang Kabataan. So dito, direct participation yung local governance. Nagkaroon ng SK Reform Act noong 2015, and this affirmed the role of the youth in nation building kasi maraming binigay na chance yung batas para sa mga kabataan na mag-serve sa komunidad. I think this will be discussed further by our speakers later. So, the Sangguniang Kabataan, which leads sa Katipunan ng Kabataan, is composed of 1 chairperson and 7 members. And they have a fixed term of 3 years. So, ano yung qualification? Citizen, qualified voter, resident, at least 18 but not more than 24. So dito, medyo may pagkakaiba yung sa Katipunan ng Kabataan, it's 15 to 30, pero to be SK chairman or SK member, you have to be 18 to 24 on the election date and able to read and write Filipino English or the local dialect. And then this is a very important amendment to the SK Reform Act. Dito naipasok yung pagbabawal sa mga political dynasty kasi yung tatakbong SK chairman hindi na po pwede na kamag-anak ng nakaupong national, regional, provincial, city, municipal, or barangay official sa lugar nila. So meron din mga iba pa, SK Treasurer and Secretary, hindi na sila hinahalal pero ina-appoint na yan ng SK Chairperson. So marami, ito yung ilan sa mga powers ng SK. So makikita na kahit bata may magagawa ang kabataan para sa kanilang komunidad. So marami, development of programs and activities are given to the Sangguniang Kabataan. So there, I hope I provided an overview of a short overview of what a Sangguniang Kabataan is and yung Katipunan ng Kabataan. And right now, we will proceed. Sir Quiel, I think. Sir Quiel, are you here? We will proceed with our first speaker. So, Quiel Quiwa is a licensed electronics engineer, an education policy advocate, and a youth organizer. He is the Youth Sector Engagement Manager of Young People's Council, a nonprofit project of Young Public Servants Incorporated that aims to empower young people by building networks for active citizenship. In his current and upcoming engagements, he aims to weave together his work across different sectors to create meaningful projects and positive impact in society. So let us all welcome Mr. Quiel Quiwa.
Hello po, magandang hapon sa lahat ng nandito ngayon. Maraming salamat sa pag-spend ng inyong Saturday afternoon sa talk na ito. It shows how committed you are towards nation building already. No, marami kayong pwedeng ibang ginagawa ngayon. Pero nandito kayo, interesado tungkol sa role ng kabataan sa nation building, sa role ng youth sa lahat ng ginagawa nating activities with the different sectors in society. So ang title ng talk na ito ay Para sa Bayan, the role of young people in nation building. Lahat naman ng ginagawa natin in this space, in the development sector, in civic engagement, in participating in society, ginagawa natin madalas para sa bayan. Pero ano nga ba yung ibig sabihin ng para sa bayan, di ba? Para sa akin, nagbabago yung ibig sabihin nito. Araw-araw, lumalalim pa ng lumalalim yung pag-intindi ko dito, nag-iiba, nagta-turn towards different directions, but always guided by our core values, by our fundamental values, in our belief in democracy and civic engagement. Sige po, next slide po. Medyo interactive lang sana ng kaunting-kaunti lang itong talk na ito. Usually kasi workshop ko ito ibinibigay. So parang shinorten ko lang siya at ginawang talk version. Pero baka very briefly, gusto ko lang din malaman which national issue matters most to you. Baka pwedeng palagay lang sa chat box kahit ano lang. Short answer lang, di ba? Parang para sa'yo, ano yung pinakamahalagang pinagdaraanan ng Pilipinas ngayon? Ano yung pinaka-nararamdaman mo? Saan mo pinaka-nararamdaman na kailangang may gawin tayo bilang mga kabataan? Ano kaya yun? Siguro ano lang, yan, may nakita na akong answer, no? Matinding kahirapan. Sige, throughout the talk, kung may naisip pa kayong idagdag, baka pwedeng pa lagay lang sa chat box. Food shortage, ayan. Yung presyo rin siguro ng bilihin nakakaapekto dito, yung mga sahod natin nakakaapekto dito sa mga issues na nabanggit so far, diba? Economic growth, poverty, teenage early pregnancy, participation of individuals. Marami tayong issues na pinahalagahan. Pagkasira ng kalikasan, at iba-iba, no? Makikita natin. Sobrang diverse. Corruption, quality education, being led by cryptic officials. Ang daming issues, iba-iba tayong personal na may iba-iba tayong personal na pinahalagahan. Pero, next slide po. Ang hinihiling ko lang para sa ito na pinahalagahan natin, next slide po, ay maintindihan natin o matuklasan natin na magkakaugnay ang bawat issue. Diba? Siguro para sa atin, quality education halimbawa yung mahalaga, or para sa atin, environment or pagkasira ng kalikasan. Para sa iba naman, yung teenage pregnancy, reproductive health siguro, or corruption. Diba? May iba-ibang mga issues tayong pinahalagahan. Pero hinihiling lang ng role ng young people in nation building, hinihingi ng pagbuo-buo ng bayan na hanapin natin kung paano na iuugnay yung issue na pinahalagahan sa atin sa issue na pinahalagahan ng mga kasama natin sa isang organization or ng mga kasama nating may pakialam din sa bayan, no? We may not be directly affected by these other issues, no? Siguro hindi naman tayo, halimbawa, para sa iba siguro walang problema ng food shortage sa barangay nila, 'di ba? Siguro malaki ang budget ng local government nila, ng barangay nila. Pero tignan din natin, no, kung paano tayo naapektuhan ng food shortage ng mga katabing barangay, halimbawa, 'di ba? Or education, siguro yung iba sa atin graduate na, hindi na natin masyadong pinahalagahan yung mga nangyayari sa education sector kasi mas trabaho na yung iniisip natin. Pero kahit yung edukasyon, 'di ba? Yung quality ng education na natatanggap ng mga students ngayon, nakakaapekto siya sa workforce development, nakakaapekto siya sa klase ng trabaho na nakukuha ng mga Pilipino, nakakaapekto siya sa overall na economic growth din ng Pilipinas dahil sa quality rin ng work na napoproduce natin. So, itong mga issues na mukhang hiwa-hiwalay, mukhang kaya naman silang i-handle individually, di ba? Nag-root sila dito sa mga mas maliliit pang issues. Itong mga systemic issues and injustices na nangyayari sa paligid natin. Na nagiging overwhelming, nagiging malaki. Na pag nakita na lang natin sa balita bigla, ang daming nangyayari. Saan nagsisimula ang mga ito? Doon sa mga maliliit na issues na nakikita natin na nakakaapekto sa atin at kahit yung mga hindi nakakaapekto sa atin. Next slide lang po. Maganda lang sigurong simulan ang conversation din na ito sa pag-define kung sino nga ba ang kabataan, who are the youth, 'di ba? Next slide po. Kasi syempre yung role ng youth yung sinusubukan nating tuklasin dito in terms of nation building. Maraming iba't ibang definitions. Kanina pa nga lang sa Katipunan ng Kabataan at saka sa Sangguniang Kabataan, magkaiba yung range ng age, di ba? 15 to 30 sa KK, 18 to 24 sa SK. Lawakan pa natin sa United Nations, halimbawa 18 to 40 rin ata, no? Sa NYC din, parang 18 to 30 yung definition, kung hindi ako nagkakamali. Siguro na lang natin, i-double check na lang natin. Pero ang punto ko, iba-iba talaga yung definition ng youth at ang dami-daming subsectors na bahagi ng youth. Young women, young fisher folk, young farmers, young LGBTQIA+, young youth religious organizations, 'di ba? Ang dami-daming youth organizations, youth sectors na kumbaga nagtatranscend din doon sa idea ng youth, 'di ba? May mga halimbawa after the age of 30 ba hindi na youth, after the age of 40 hindi na youth, pero part pa rin nung sector ng women's, part pa rin ng sector ng farmers, ng fisherfolk, ng workers, 'di ba? So para lang malinaw dito sa talk natin, gusto kong i-define na ang youth at the very minimum siguro, no, ito yung mga tao na laging nagbabago, laging may ginagawang bago, at laging patungo sa pagbabago. Ito yung sektor na laging may bagong ginagawa, laging may bagong tinutuklas, laging may bagong sinusubukan. Bakit ko nasabi yun? Kasi nga, dynamic ito at transitory itong sector ng youth. Diba? Kung ibabase nga natin sa age, ay nako, may email po na nakabukas sa ano natin. Okay, baka lang may private message no na makita natin. So kung kanino man po 'yun. Yan, ang youth dahil 'di ba, from 18 to 30 usually dinedefine, sige, kung kunyari ganun, or 15 to 24 ba yan, 18 to 24 ba yan, 15 to 30. Ang malinaw lang na laging nagbabago kung sino yung nandito sa sektor ng kabataan. 'Di ba? May mga gagraduate na mula sa youth sector, may mga papasok pa lang dito sa age range na ito na pwede nang bumoto, pwede nang makibahagi sa katipunan ng kabataan, pwede nang makibahagi sa barangay at SK elections, pwede nang bumoto. 'Di ba? Yun kaya laging nagbabago kung sino itong youth na ito. For now, tayo yung nandito, pero in a few years or in 5, 10, 15 years, depende kung anong age nyo ngayon, mag-iiba na yan. 'Di ba? Pero laging may ginagawang bago din yung youth. Sa tingin ko, natatapos lang talaga yung pagiging youth natin pagka ayaw na natin sa bago. Parang wala na tayong energy gumawa ng bago, tumuklas ng bago, at mag-aspire for something new, mag-aspire for change. Yan para sa akin, or para sa amin at least sa YPS, ang definition ng youth, no? Hindi namin kinukulong or hindi namin ini-end sa kumbaga sa age range itong definition ng youth, pero it's more of how we attempt to achieve change, diba? Or to how we attempt to reach the things that we're fighting for, the things that we want to change in society, to make this world a better place, di ba? Medyo cheesy, pero totoo naman, di ba? May pagka-cheesy din talaga ang pagiging bahagi ng youth sector. Kaya gusto ko po simulan sa next slide. Next slide po. Bago tayo pumunta sa barangay at SK elections, no, sa role natin dito sa paparating na elections, ang youth-driven organizing, ito sa tingin ko yung pinaka naging malinaw or pinaka naging visible na form ng role ng youth sa nation building the past few years. At laging nagsisimula ang kwento or ang pagbubuo ng bayan sa mga tanong na anong pwede nating gawin at anong gusto nating makita sa henerasyong ito at sa mga susunod pa. Siguro pwede pa nga natin hanapin yung mas fundamental na tanong dito. Anong pwede kong gawin? Diba? Kaya ako tinanong sa inyo kanina kung ano yung national issue na pinakamahalaga para sa inyo. Gusto kong malaman kung kung ano rin yung nararamdaman niyo tungkol sa mga issues na ito. Gusto kong mapag-isipan natin lahat 'yun. Kasi usually nagsisimula ang role ng youth sa nation building kapag sinusubukan nating alamin kung ano nga ba yung pwede nating gawin tungkol dito sa mga issues na mahalaga para sa atin. On an individual level, tapos tinatanong natin yung mga kaibigan natin, yung mga kasama natin, meron kaya tayong pwedeng gawin na magkasama dito? Ano ba yung shared vision natin? Ano ba yung gusto nating makita sa henerasyong ito? Ako, ito yung gusto ko. Ikaw, ganito rin ba yung pinahalagahan mo? Ganito rin ba yung gusto mong mangyari? So doon umiikot itong ideya ng youth-driven organizing, itong role ng youth sa nation building. At sobrang naging matinag siya or sobrang naging malinaw siya noong pandemya, halimbawa. Even before, di ba? Parang sa mahabang-mahabang kasaysayan ng Pilipinas, sige, balikan natin ang mga national heroes natin, halimbawa, sina Jose Rizal, sina Andres Bonifacio, ang mga writers noong panahon ng Kastila, yung mga lumaban ng panahon ng Hapon at Amerikano, di ba? Parang lahat sila, ang majority ay mga kabataan, di ba? Mga youth leaders na nagkaroon ng pakialam sa bayan, na may hinangad na pagbabago sa lipunan. Doon nagsimula ang youth driven organizing, kumbaga. Doon nakita kung gaano kahalaga yung role ng youth sa nation building, lalong-lalo na sa Pilipinas. At sa tingin ko, na revitalize yun this pandemic, di ba? Sorry, balikan pa natin konti. Kahit nung panahon ng martial law, halimbawa, di ba, parang nung first quarter storm, nung mga maraming youth organizations na nag-resist, na sumulat ng mga articles, ng mga aspirations nila for the country. Tuloy-tuloy yun hanggang sa nabuo yung mga maraming mga student councils din na naging active sa mga schools, na nabuo yung mga SK leaders natin, na nabuo yung mga national formations ng mga youth leadership organizations. At nitong pandemya nga, kitang-kita na sobrang active ng youth, 'di ba? Doon sa mga community pantry na nabuo, doon sa mga pagvo-volunteer sa mga feeding programs, sa pagvo-volunteer sa mga vaccination efforts. Kasi nung pandemya, nakulong yung energy ng mga youth, ng mga kabataan sa mga bahay natin. 'Di ba? Parang ang dami-daming nating gustong gawin. Nagsisimula pa lang yung mga buhay natin, kumbaga. Wow, nagsisimula pa lang yung energy natin. Ang dami-dami nating energy, pero na-stuck tayo sa bahay. At a few months into the pandemic, sobrang daming gustong may gawin tungkol sa mga nakikita natin sa balita. Diba, tumataas noon yung cases ng COVID, yung death toll, ang hirap-hirap ng situation sa quarantine, ang hirap mag-aral online, yung mga ganitong problema, no. Mula doon sa mga ganitong issues na pinahalagahan ng maraming youth, ang dami-daming mga efforts na nabuo para tumugon, at pinangunahan ito ng youth, no? So bigyan ko lang siguro ng kaunting konkretong examples sa mga proyekto ng YPS. Halimbawa, sa next slide, nagkaroon ng COVID-19 Community-Based Livelihood Project na, kumbaga, nag-organize ng mga young individuals sa mga partner areas to become youth leaders in community-driven development during the pandemic, na parang, kumbaga, livelihood assistance ito para sa mga families affected by COVID-19. Yung nagkaroon din ng Taong Bayan Project na inattempt ding or sinubukan ding i-gather itong mga aspirations and experiences ng mga youth noong pandemya, and then leading up to the national elections. Tapos eventually, after the national elections, nabuo itong Young People's Council na inattempt na i-sustain yung level of engagement na nagsimula doon sa pandemya, sa national elections, para patuloy na mag-organize ng youth. Nagkaroon ng maraming trainings. Dito may photo din sa taas, itong Plastic Exchange Project in partnership with Hope in a Bottle. Since napakaraming youth nga nung 2022 elections ang nag-house to house, nag-campaign din, no, for candidates, 'di ba? Niinano natin 'yun. Sinubukan nating i-revive yung effort na 'yun for a development sector project. Nag-house to house kami noon sa isang barangay sa Maynila na parang information campaign siya tungkol sa plastic exchange project ng USAID at ng Hope in a Bottle, no? So gulat na gulat yung mga taga Hope in a Bottle kasi nagprint sila ng ilang mga flyers na akala nila napakarami na nilang pinrint, pero na-cover ito yan, yung nasa picture, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kami noon na nag-ikot. Na-cover namin yung buong barangay in 1 hour or less pa nga ata. Kala nila half day or whole day engagement ito. Pero grabe rin kasi yung yung naging karanasan ng youth ng sa pag-house to house ng campaign na nasanay na talaga at ang malinaw na kung paano mag-engage, makipag-usap sa mga tao, ano yung mga pwedeng pag-usapan, paano maitatawid yung punto tungkol sa um, hina-house to house na ideas, no. So from campaign related, naging tungkol siya sa pagiging pagkakaroon ng pakialam sa environment. So yung ganong klaseng activity ay naging posible dahil sa patuloy na pag-organize, pagiging engaged ng youth sa pag-participate ng youth. At dahil tungkol nga na sa barangay at SK elections itong talk natin ngayong hapon, itong topic natin ngayong hapon, gusto ko rin magpakita ng ilang examples from the 2022 national elections. Sa next slide po. Di po ako familiar sa political views ng mga tao dito, pero naging bahagi po kasi ako, nag-organize po ako ng youth vote for Lenny noong previous campaign noong 2022 national elections. At dito po sa next slide, gusto ko lang pakita kung ano yung mga napaka-creative din na ginawa ng mga youth in terms of nation building. Kasi ang pag-participate sa campaign, sa elections, 'di ba? Yan ay pag-practice ng ng democracy, no? Pag-practice ng right natin to vote, 'di ba, sa mismong elections and prior to elections to show people we care about our country, kung ano yung mga issues na pinahalagahan natin, kung ano yung mga kung sino yung mga leaders na gusto nating iboto or mag-lead ng Pilipinas for the next few years, no. So gusto ko ipakita dito yung creativity ng youth, nag-organize ng mga rallies, ng mga concerts, kantahan, sayawan, voters education, nagpa-print ng mga merch, ng mga t-shirts, ng mga stickers, mga tarpaulin, nag-paint ng mga walls, ng mga murals sa gitna ng daan, ng mga highway, ng mga sa walls ng mga bahay. Nagprint ng mga comics, shinare sa mga sa iba't ibang mga tao. So siguro po sa ibang mga mga campaigns noon or sa ibang candidates baka may mga similar din. Pero ito lang, no, kung may isang bagay man na proud ako tungkol sa naging 2022 national election campaign for Lenny Robredo ay itong creativity and grit na pinakita ng youth, na itong willingness ng youth na mag-participate kahit na may mga trabaho, kahit na may mga sariling inaaral, kahit may mga sariling ginagawa. So sana kumbaga ito yung klase ng energy na sana ma-sustain natin, patuloy nating maipakita moving forward, no, in our own barangay elections, in our own SK elections, in our own communities, in our own organizations. Patuloy na maging creative, patuloy na may gawing bago. So next slide po. Kaunting lessons lang from these activities, both during the campaign and during the pandemic and even prior to that. Madalas gumagana ang youth-driven organizing activities kapag sinusubukan natin bumuo ng shared spaces. Yung nararamdaman ng bawat isa sa atin na bahagi tayo ng sinusubukan nating buuin na bayan, na tong sinusubukan nating i-build na nation, di ba? Lahat tayo, kumbaga, kunyari, ipakita natin, gawin natin example yung mural painting, di ba? Para mabuo ang isang napakalaking mural, kailangan ng maraming magpe-paint. Minsan kahit makapaglagay lang yung isang member ng isang organization ng isang linya or isang stroke ng pintura doon sa buong paint na yon, buong mural painting na yon, mararamdaman na niya na naging bahagi siya ng activity na yon. Pagbabalikan or pag makikita ulit yung painting, makikita niya ulit na, uy, bahagi ako ng nagpaint niyan. At magiging proud siya, no? At magiging kumbaga mararamdaman natin na may kumbaga may sense of ownership tayo doon sa ginagawa natin. Part tayo nitoong nitong nation na sinusubukan nating buuin. Pangalawa, yung patuloy na pag-engage with internal and external stakeholders, no? Yung pagbubuo ng community through our organizations, hindi lang siya pagpapakita sa ibang tao, pero pati na rin doon sa mga sarili nating organizations, parang internally. Halimbawa within a local youth development council, di ba? Napakarami nating stakeholders, organizations na ini-engage. Pero tayo ba within the secretariat, halimbawa, within the LYDO or the office itself, di ba? Inaalagaan ba natin yung isa't isa? Diba? Pinahalagahan ba natin yung mga pinahahalagahan ng isa't isa? Important yun sa pagbubuo ng bayan, no? Sa nation building na sinusubukan nating gawin. Internally, malinaw para sa atin kung bakit natin to ginagawa. At externally, pagka ini-engage natin yung mga beneficiaries natin, tsaka yung mga sinusubukan nating hikayatin sa mga cause natin, whatever our advocacies may be, di ba? Patuloy natin silang ini-engage genuinely. Yun. Sana mayroon tayo laging pakialam at kumbaga kumbaga parang puso para sa isa't isa. At yung pangatlo, pagbubuo rin ng credibility. No? Usually, ang problema na sinasabi ng mga youth sa pag-organize or pag nagpa-participate sila in nation building, ay hindi tayo nabibigyan ng legitimacy or kumbaga hindi tayo pinapakinggan pagka nandyan na yung mga kumbaga elders or yung mga older officials or yung mga organizations na mas matatanda yung nagpa-participate, sorry po. Mas experienced na lang yung nagpa-participate. Maging ako, no, sa workplace or sa organizing, kumbaga nararamdaman ko rin yun minsan na up until malaman nila kung ano yung age ko, parang normal naman yung pakikitungo at pinakikinggan ako. Pero pag nalaman nila na, ay, bata ka pa pala, ganyan, parang biglang nag-iiba yung yung tingin nila. Na ako parang, teka lang, di ba, parang pinakita ko naman yung sipag at husay ko dito sa trabaho ito. Pero bakit nagbago bigla yung tingin nyo? Dahil lang nalaman nyo yung age ko. At maraming experiences yung youth sa ganun na hindi siniseryoso or hindi binibigyan ng pagkakataong mag-participate or makibahagi dahil lang bata tayo, di ba? Pero parang yung maraming energy at creativity at quality work na nakita ko over the past few years, nanggaling din naman talaga sa mga youth. So, mahalagang i-build yung credibility natin through our personal accountabilities, through transparencies in our organizations, and tayo rin personally, no? Pag nakikita rin naman ng mga tao na patuloy nating sinisipagan, patuloy nating pinapakita yung husay natin, transparent tayo sa spending natin, halimbawa, accountable tayo sa mga actions natin, nagkakaroon din ng respect or kumbaga nagkakaroon din ng willingness to listen to us. Binibigyan din tayo ng seat sa decision-making table. Binibigyan din tayo ng pagkakataong makibahagi sa decision-making ng ng mga communities natin. And from this, parang gusto ko lang i-transition to the next slide. Aside from organizing, sobrang halaga na mag-participate tayo sa governance. Kasi ito yung, kumbaga, institutionalized or active na process or proseso na parang laging nandyan, na bahagi talaga ng malaking institution na tinatawag nating gobyerno, na pwede nating i-legitimize yung mga pag-organize na activities natin, yung advocacies natin, yung mga gusto nating gawin para sa mga issues na pinahalagahan natin. At nagsisimula naman ang pagpa-participate sa local youth governance sa mga tanong na bakit mahalagang bumoto at ano ang kayang gawin ng kabataan sa gobyerno? Diba? Siyempre, next slide po natin. Ang pakikibahagi sa darating na eleksyon para sa barangay at SK, mahalaga doon sa unang tanong ko kanina, mahalagang naintindihan ng lahat na karapatan nating bumoto at pumili ng mga representatives o kakatawan sa mga pangangailangan, pinakahalagahan at pinaglalaban natin. Sana yung mga pipiliin nating leaders ay tutugon dito sa mga nilista nating mga issues on poverty, food shortage, economic growth, teenage pregnancy, pagkasira ng kalikasan, or tayo mismo, subukan nating um, kumbaga, voice out itong opinion natin itong mga opinion natin para maging bahagi ng mga platforms and advocacies na rin siguro nitong mga leaders na sinusubukan nating ihalal sa barangay at SK elections, 'di ba? Kasi kung hindi tayo pareho ng pinaglalaban at pinahalagahan at pangangailangan doon sa mga leaders na iboboto natin, baka hindi tayo mapakinggan, no? Baka maisantabi itong mga issues natin. So yun yung halaga ng pagpa-participate sa local youth governance. At pagkakataon din ito upang ipakita yung sinasabi ko kanina na legitimacy o kumbaga yung kakayahan ng kabataan na maglingkod, no? To do good things, to create positive social impact in society. It's and in our communities to start with, di ba? Medyo madami na po akong sinabi, no? Pero moving forward, gusto ko lang din itanong, nabanggit no kanina kung ano yung mga issues na mahalaga para sa inyo. Gusto ko lang malaman kung lahat ba tayo ay may advocacies, di ba? May kaunting difference yung issue na pinahalagahan sa mismong advocacy natin. Dahil sa advocacy, meron ng may pagtanggap doon sa issue at may willingness to commit time and effort for any initiative related to our advocacy. Lagi kasing tinatanong yung mga kabataan, 'di ba? Lagi tayong tinatanong kung ano ba yung dreams natin, ano ba aspirations natin, ano gusto nating maging paglaki natin, 'di ba? Pero in difficult times, lalo na nung pandemya, and sana ngayon better na, no? Pero during the pandemic, ang hirap sagutin ng tanong na yun. And then when we see leaders who don't respond well to the issues that matter to us, ang hirap pa rin sagutin ng what are our dreams and aspirations, di ba? But siguro mas madaling sagutin itong tanong na what is our advocacy? What are our advocacies, di ba? Parang itong advocacies na ito, rooted siya in who we are, where we are right now, di ba? Halimbawa, may mga kaibigan ako na transport ang advocacy nila or mobility kasi commuters sila, no? Nahihirapan silang pumunta sa mga trabaho nila araw-araw kasi ang hirap lang talaga ang grabe yung traffic, ang medyo hindi ganun ka-reliable yung yung mga LRT at MRT, yung sa Monday at Tuesday nga, kung di ako nagkakamali, may nationwide transport strike, di ba? Tama ba? Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, parang ganun. Basta next week, nabalitaan ko rin yung nationwide transport strike. Mahal pa yung pamasahe, di ba? Yung iba, education, kasi mga estudyante sila or na-experience nila yung pag-aaral sa pandemya, yung learning losses na naganap. Or yung iba, sa labor, kasi mga workers ngayon na youth din. At minsan hindi patas yung yung mga issues or yung hindi patas yung mga policies na ginagawa ng ibang mga or na pinapractice ng mga ibang companies. So doon sana maitahi natin yung personal advocacies natin. Magkaroon tayo ng kaunting di ba? Ayan, environmental issues, advocacy for environmental protection and climate change mitigation. Di ba? Lalong-lalo na nasa Pilipinas tayo napaka-vulnerable sa mga magiging epekto ng climate change ng environment. Mayroon nga yung extended producer's responsibility na law, 'di ba, na sinusubukang i-mandate yung mga companies na mga malalaking kumpanya na mag-report tungkol sa waste nila at magkaroon ng mga efforts para i-reduce yung waste nila. May mga ganoong klaseng advocacy din kasi tayo rin yung naapektuhan or mga tao rin sa paligid natin. So kaunting reflection lang, next slide po. Habang para doon sa mga hindi pa nahahanap yung personal advocacies nila, at baka kasi mahanap natin ito sa darating na barangay at SK elections dahil mahalaga yun sa patuloy na pagbubuo ng bayan. Or doon nga sa unang option na pinakita ko kanina in terms of youth-driven organizing. Next slide po. Ano kaya yung mga issues na yun, di ba? Yung na mahalaga sa atin. Kumbaga, what moved us to become interested in our advocacies? Is this a personal experience? Is this the experience of the people who matter to us, went through in the past few years? Are you, di ba, parang pinagdaanan mo ba to? Pinagdaanan ba to ng mga nasa paligid mo? Pangalawa, willing ka bang mag-commit ng time and effort para gumawa ng isang initiative related to your advocacy? At dalawa nga, yung options dyan, pwedeng through organizing or pwedeng through participation in local governance. Panghuli, ang pinakamahalaga sa lahat, are you willing to work with the people around you? Dahil wala po tayong ma-achieve kung tayo lang or mag-isa lang tayong gumagawa nitong mga bagay na ito. No? Yung role ng youth in nation building na pinag-uusapan natin, di ba? Itong pag-commit natin towards steering the generation towards a more progressive and inclusive society. Nasa ano siya eh, di ba? Nasa pagbubuo siya ng bayan na framing. Nation building siya. Hindi siya just pushing for our own agenda. Hindi siya parang pag-push lang ng gusto nating gawin, ng gusto nating ma-achieve. Kaya ko rin sinimulan kanina sa ideya na magkakaugnay yung bawat issue. Hanap tayo ng ways to work together. Yung iba rin sa school nagpa-participate, di ba? Dalhin natin yung participation sa school, sa participation sa communities. Dalhin natin yung mga communities natin sa para mas maintindihan ng mga leaders, ng mga youth leaders sa school, ng mga student council kung paano sila makaka-contribute din in our own communities, di ba? Pero lahat ng ito ay nagsisimula sa youth na laging nagbabago, laging may ginagawang bago at laging patungo sa pagbabago. So maraming salamat po sa pakikinig. Pasensya na, ang dami kong sinabi. Pero yes, kung may mga tanong po, I'm here to answer your questions.
Ayun, thank you so much, Quiel, for sharing your work with us and for sharing how the youth can participate in local governance and in nation building. Ang dami pala talagang pwedeng gawin ng kabataan para sa bansa natin. So now, thankfully, Quiel will stay for to answer your questions. So if anyone has questions, you can use po may Q&A tab sa baba. Or you can, if it's easier, you can chat. Or kung meron din po na gustong magtaas ng kamay, pwede rin po. Just raise your hand and then unmute yourself and yung kung kaya mag-on cam, then you can ask your questions po. So any questions? I would just like to bago po pala tayo dumating sa question, habang nag-iisip po yung ating mga audience ng tanong, I would just like to recognize Councilor Joanne Valdez. Our next speaker is already here. Hi po, Councilor. Thank you so much for
Magandang hapon po. So happy to be here.
So katapos lang po ni Quiel. So we're if there are questions you can ask. And then we also here with us is the Executive Director of Young Public Servants. So yung sinasabi ni Quiel kanina na organization, Young Public Servants, yung Executive Director nila, Sir Justin Muyot, is also here.
Tama, no? Hi, Sir Justin. And then, i-recognize ko lang yung ilan sa mga organizations na mga nandito ngayon. Actually, ang dami po. Thank you. From all over the Philippines, meron tayong mga taga-norte. I think yung mga matagal nang sumusubaybay kay Councilor Joanne. Meron po tayong mga taga Mandaue City, Visayas, tama po, no? And then, tama, CYM is Catholic Youth Ministry or Candon Youth Ministry. Baka po youth movement, baka po minsan i-ask lang namin para lang sa records namin kung anong ibig sabihin nitong mga acronym. HMSO, IP.org, LYDC, MASEC is from Marinduque. Sila po yung aming group, envy group ng youth sa Marinduque. Tama po, no? Marinduque? Pag nagkamali po ako, pwede nyo lang po akong i-call out na nagkamali ako. And then, meron din po tayo mga taga Marbel, taga South Cotabato. Marami po dito. Merong Tampakan, from Notre Dame of Kidapawan. Marami po MSU, so from UNESCO, YSLEP, so yun po. Thank you so much for dedicating your time today. Sana po marami kayong matutunan at maging makabuluhan. So, yes po. So kung may tanong, I'll give the floor for a few minutes pa kung may mga tanong po. So, any questions or clarifications for Quiel?
Hello. Sorry, narinig ba ako?
Yes, rinig po tayo.
Ayun. Hello everyone. My name is Jay Periodique. Kaibigan ako ni Ate Jo, ni Consi Jo, no, sa grad school sa UP Diliman. Gusto ko lang matanong din kay Sir Quiel at siguro sa grupo na rin na umattend sa meeting na ito is ngayon kasi napakatalamak ngayon sa sitwasyon natin bilang tao, bilang Pilipino sa politika natin, yung democratic backsliding na tinatawag. So ito yung parang nawawala na yung esensya ng demokrasya, no, sa atin. Yung participation na limitahan na. At ini-instill sa atin, mga tao, yung takot, no, na kapag may mga issues na nakakapekto sa ating mga kabataan, hindi na tayo maka-fight back kasi ang daming grabe yung power, di ba? Yung pagre-restrict sa atin na kumilos. Siguro, Sir Quiel, sa palagay mo, ano yung mga unang mga hakbangin natin bilang kabataan, bilang isang grupo ng mga kabataan, network ng kabataan, mga alliances, na mapanatili yung esensya ng demokrasya, na patuloy pa rin tayong kumikilos, patuloy pa rin tayong gumagawa ng mga estratehiya na magbubuklod o mag-i-enhance ng capacity ng mga kabataan at magiging kasama natin, no, sa pag-develop, no, ng community natin ng kabataan, ng sektor ng kabataan.
So siguro sisimulan ko, no, babalikan ko yung dalawang main ideas na nabanggit ko kanina, which is youth organizing, youth-driven organizing, at yung participating in local youth governance. Mahalagang mahanap yung mga ibang katulad natin na parehong pinahalagahan, na pareho yung gustong gawin, gustong ma-achieve, no, mahanap yung mga katulad nating may pakialam din sa bayan. Kasi kung itong democratic backsliding na nababanggit nga lagi ay pinaka-nararamdaman natin kapag mag-isa lang tayo in the issues that we care about. 'Di ba? Pagka pakiramdam natin tayo lang yung may pakialam sa environment dito sa community natin. At kung mahanap natin yung ibang may pakialam din sa environment, halimbawa, napakalaking epekto na yun, na maging dalawa kayong may ganitong klaseng advocacy, tapos or maging tatlo, maging apat, maging lima, maging isang organization, maging isang small group muna. Kung hindi natin mahanap or kung nahihirapan tayong hanapin itong mga kaparehong pinahalagahan natin, magandang magsimula doon sa advocacy aspect ng di naman pag-educate or pag-spread ng awareness siguro tungkol dito sa mga issues na pinahalagahan natin. Nakakalungkot no yung idea ng democratic backsliding at nangyayari naman talaga siya in other in some ways, in some forms. Pero gusto kong maging gusto kong gawing opportunity din. Gusto kong makita rin natin na opportunity itong pag-participate sa local youth governance. Yung fact na may anti-dynasty provision itong SK Reform Act natin na yun sana no kung maging kung genuinely na ma-enforce ito ng COMELEC halimbawa at tayo din mabantayan natin kung talaga bang napapractice itong anti-dynasty provisions ng SK Reform law no parang it's a way to ensure that we'll have a healthy democracy, parang starting with the youth, 'di ba? So medyo idealistic itong mga binabanggit ko siguro, pero yun nga sabi ko rin kanina medyo cheesy, may pagka-cheesy na aspect yung pagiging youth. Pero kailangan natin siyang panindigan, no? Kailangan natin panindigan yung mga pinahalagahan at pinaglalaban natin. At kailangan natin mahanap yung mga katulad nating mag-isip. Push lang, patuloy lang. Sana nasagot ko yung tanong mo or kung baka may
Ganda ng sagot, no? Parang maganda rin na yung highlight mo nga, no? Community education, tawag doon. Yung parang tayo, pag bumababa tayo sa community, nag-organize tayo, bumababa tayo sa community, no? Mahalagang aspeto sa atin para mahanap din natin yung mga katulad natin na may na prinsipyo, yung pag-educate, no? Parang, kumbaga mag-instill tayo ng mga values na alam natin, naka-angkla siya sa people-centered na development, no? Na tao mismo yung mag-define ng development. At tayo mga kabataan, mahalaga tayong aktor, no, na para matupad natin yung transformative change na gusto natin mangyari sa society natin. Oo nga, medyo idealistic tignan, pero for sure, no, as we integrate sa community, as we know the issues, mga prevailing issues na kinakaharap ng community natin, tayo, no, bilang iba dito siguro aspiring SK leaders, no, leader na ngayon, mahalaga na kasama natin yung mga kapwa-kabataan natin at patuloy na tayong nag-raise ng awareness, no, at mag-steal ng mga values na nakaangkla sa mga prinsipyo natin, no, na nakaangkla din sa people-centered na development, na tayo mismo yung gagawa at tungtungan ng development and design natin. So yun. Thank you, Quiel.
Salamat. Gusto ko lang mag-disclaimer, hindi masamang magsimula sa pagiging idealistic, no? Okay lang 'yun, okay lang 'yun. Pero kaya nga natin ginagawa lahat ng 'to kasi para mas mapalalim pa yung pag-intindi natin dun sa mga salitang para sa bayan. Itong mga cheesy lines and ideas na na-encounter natin ngayon or basta i-target din natin or hamunin din natin yung mga sarili natin na mas maging malalim pa yung pag-intindi natin, mas maintindihan natin yung perspectives ng ibang tao. At yung idealism na yan, I'm sure it will bring you closer to your to your realistic goals, as long as we genuinely care about these things that we care about, these issues that we care about. Ayun.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. If wala na pong questions, I think baka kasi hindi I think may prior appointment skill, so baka hindi siya makastay. Kung okay lang, para meron tayong chance for a photo with him, let's take a photo lang. Kung sinong makakapag-open ng cam, pa-open na lang po ng cam. Okay? Okay. Sige. Tayo natin. Medyo marami-rami tayo, so maraming hihintayin kung mag-open. Okay? Bali, 3 po ito. So, hintay lang ng konti. Yung smile, kaya yan. Artistang smile na stay natin ng medyo matagal. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much. Before proceeding to our next speaker, we would just like to present a certificate of appreciation to Quiel Quiwa for his invaluable insights, experiences, and expertise shared with our participants today on the Youth on Local Governance, Inspiring Youths to be Leaders, given this October 14, 2023. Again, thank you. Papadalan ka namin ng kopya, Kiel. Thank you so much. If wala nang questions, yan. Thank you. We will now hear from our second speaker. Again, kanina I introduced her. Sobrang nakaka-starstruck to be here with her ngayon kasi sobrang daming na-achieve ng individual na ito. So, sige. Councilor Joanne Valdez is a dedicated community leader and educator who currently serves as a third-term council member from Candon City, Ilocos Sur, Philippines. So sa mga taga Candon dyan, hi! She contributes to committees on gender and development, women and family education. Councilor Joanne's work has been recognized with awards and honors, including the JCI 10 Outstanding Young Persons of the World 2023, the Outstanding Young Men of the Philippines 2022, the Young Leaders Award, Award for Excellence in Advocacy Work conferred by the National Movement of Young Legislators. She has also been selected for prestigious fellowships such as the Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative, a program launched by the U.S. government to empower emerging leaders in Southeast Asia in Vital Voices Engage program, a fellowship for outstanding women, political leaders across the globe, and was invited to be part of Club de Madrid, a global network of young decision makers. She is the founder of Candon Youth for Empowerment Movement, a community organization that inspires volunteers to create positive change in their respective communities. Her advocacy work includes promoting gender and development, particularly youth and women's empowerment, respecting sexual orientation and gender identity and expression, HIV and AIDS prevention, community libraries, and youth in farming, among others. Councilor Joanne is also committed to producing videos for various advocacy projects for non-government organizations, showcasing her expertise in video production. Additionally, she has served as a faculty member at St. Paul University, Quezon City College of Mass Communication, where she has had the opportunity to share her insights and inspire future media professionals. Councilor Joanne is also a devoted mother, wife, daughter, and friend who values her relationships with loved ones. Her expertise and insights have led her to speak at numerous conferences and events as a resource speaker, sharing her experiences and knowledge with others. So again, we are very, very honored to be with her today. Let us all welcome Councilor Joanne Valdez. Yay.
Thank you, Attorney Irene, for the introduction. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. It's such an honor to be here. I would like to thank PMPI for giving me this honor by being part of this afternoon's session. I'm tuned into the fact that I'm here in spotlight among different youth organizations all over the country. So the notch became higher, the pressure became higher because, for one, what can I say that can truly resonate with these young leaders? I know that most of you have experience already in leading your communities. So we all have different stories, and I'd like to share of my story. I don't want to sound like I'm an expert to this, but I'd really like to share what have we been doing here in my community, and I hope that you will get a lesson or two from the story this afternoon. So I don't want to have a condescending tone, but I'd like to relate the narratives, because I know that it is in our narratives that we have that we can draw valuable lessons from. So I like to start by actually making kwento about my childhood, para then you have an idea as to how I started in public service, because I was told that mag-share daw ako ng story ko as a youth leader. So that's me when I was 9 years old. That was actually a parang it's a boat ride from Cebu to Bohol. Parang it's a trip, and ganyan, that's my mom and that's my dad at the back. And I grew up really in a humble family. Although they can actually provide for the things that we need, we're very simple. Growing up, I've seen my mom, who is a family doctor. I see her render a lot of medical missions in our community. She would volunteer for Caritas in medical missions, and I grew up witnessing how selfless they are. I mean, in terms of the profession that they have. My dad was a public servant at that time. Naalala ko, during medical missions, I would line up dun sa ibang services. Like, I would line up dun sa dental services. Nagpapabunot ako ng ngipin. And, that's, it goes to show that I love being commune with people. I love blending in. I love observing. I was really observant as a child. And of course, my dad, who was a public servant at that time, I witnessed him, giving his last centavo to people who would come knock to our door and, would ask for medical assistance, would ask for whatever it is that people need. I see him deal with people, and I see how generous he was with our neighbors. I would remember our white Nissan car. Hinihiram siya ng mga kapitbahay namin kasi ikakasal sila. There were also times that hindi na namin magamit because, the community members who are getting married are borrowing that white Nissan car. So those are the fondest memories of my childhood. So I was involved in student council from grade school, high school, up to college. I was active in the academe as far as leadership is concerned. I want to attribute that most of the skills that I had, leadership trainings, camps that I had, was from the academe. So that's when I actually thought about why don't we contribute what we can to our community. So that's when after college, I didn't delve into running for public office, but I started as somebody, as mentioned in the introduction kanina. I produced advocative videos for NGOs. We help them craft and draft their messaging to their audience, be that a persuasive video, or be that a fundraiser video, or whatever it is that they aim for their organization. I saw that. So that's when, my father was actually, he was finishing his last term, and one time he asked me, do you want to run for public office? That was in 2016, and I was working as a video documentarian at that time. And I said, okay, from somebody who have traveled, all over the country, that was a job that allowed me to travel the country, seeing firsthand, leadership from different LGUs and different communities, different people's organizations. So that kind of job was enriching prior to entering public office. So I said, for somebody who was, trained at a young age, learned, my experience was very vast, in terms of leadership. I remember interviewing then Secretary Jessie Robredo in Naga City for a project, and that inspired me so much. Actually, those were the moments that I felt like, wow, I can also contribute something to my community. So, yun yung mga nakapag-inspire sa akin, and say, even if I was half-hearted when I ran for public, because I didn't wanna leave that job, video documentarian, and I was traveling. I really love traveling. I really love different kinds of experiences. You would bond with other, different communities, different tribes. So iba-iba yung mga taong nakakasalamuha namin. Sabi ko, sige, as somebody who, who's been so blessed, why don't I go back to my hometown? So at that time, I was based in Quezon City. So umuwi ako dito sa Ilocos Sur. And that's when I ran for public office. So we have had our own set of challenges. So nakita ko na I started actually sitting down with young people, and that's when I saw their struggles. I saw that nobody was championing their concerns and issues, and I'm operating in an arena where it's heavily it's a heavily politically entrenched dynasty. You're operating in that, so it's kind of hard if you're not part of it. So my honeymoon with Victory was short-lived. In 2016, I won a seat to the council, but I was the lone minority. Actually, even up to now, I'm the lone minority in the council, and that means, mag-isa ka na hindi ka partido. So just imagine, for all of you who are not familiar with how the council works, you need numbers. If you want to pass legislations, you would need allies. You would need somebody who would understand better the things that you're fighting for. So I was a lone minority. I mean, I'm already on my third term. I know that's still a challenge up to this day, but I think that didn't prevent me from actually championing the sectors that I want to champion, because you had an oath, that in the best that you can, you would champion the sector that you want to help. So ako, even if the challenge is hard, at that level, you have to find other areas for you to be able to do something for the communities. And syempre, pinangako mo sa kanila that you'll be their voice in that council. So I think up to this day, we still stand up for the minority. But I'd like to give you a story about how a lone minority is navigating in a very difficult, sabi ko, trailblazing the challenging path in a very difficult arena. So when I began consulting with the youth, I remember I'd like to forefront 3 young youth here. So I remember meeting Erickson, who was at that time studying agriculture, and he was, he lacked motivation and direction, and said it was so hard for him to pursue agriculture because he was looking at his parents na hindi naman daw kumikita dun sa agriculture. So paano pa niya itutuloy yung kanyang yung course. A lot of people, but ironically, a lot of people here are studying different courses but ends up tilling their lands anyway. But ito, I mean, this particular youth, nag-aral siya ng agriculture, but wala siyang motivation because nakikita nga niya na it's not a lucrative kind of job yung agric farming, no? So that incident really, really struck me na, how can we motivate these young people to actually venture into agriculture? Because for one major challenge is that young people doesn't want to venture into agriculture or farming, and we all eat. The average age of farmers is 57, 58 years old. So if they're gonna die 15 years from now, so who will plant our food? So it's not just a problem here in the province, but it's elsewhere. It's global. So that's one thing na nakita namin. Another is that Giovanni, I met Giovanni, who's very passionate at what he does, but they're poor. Sometimes this is a college student, and sometimes he would sacrifice meals in exchange for just so as to bring him to school. Pamasahe na lang niya, yung pangkakain lang niya, pamasahe na lang niya. Minsan kumakain siya ng rice saka salt for a meal, and another meal ay crackers. So just imagine how difficult yung situations that they all go through. And another one is a transgender beauty queen in their barangay. I remember meeting Nigel, who is a transgender beauty queen who came to me and said, she wanted to find purpose, and she wanted to do more, but she couldn't find an avenue for her to actually bring out the best in her. So in a sense, they were looking for something that would, at that time wala pa kasing Sangguniang Kabataan, 2016. So we were like, oh wow. So there are a lot of issues with our young people here. So we looked around. So I said that, why don't we, this is already outside of our work as in legislation. So this is already our grassroots organizing. So we started our grassroots organizing with the young people themselves, because that's when they actually laid in, their issues and concerns. So we thought of actually tapping those untapped resources in our community. So those are the senior citizens. So this is sabi namin, dito sa amin nagsimula yung teenagers, yung synergy of senior citizens and teenagers, na pag pinagsama mo pala yung mga may wisdom, pero walang energy, but yung wala masyadong wisdom, pero punong-puno ng energy, it makes a good, it makes a good combination pala. So that's when we tap this retired state college president, a retired accountant, a retired former city administrator, mayroon pa nga kaming pastor and a doctor. So these were the senior citizens that we tapped. And maganda yung naging simula, because they were so enthusiastic about it, because feeling nila they're not needed in the community, and now all along pinush mo sila to do something. So sometimes it's just a matter of asking people whether or they can do that for you, because at the end of the day, hindi ka mahihiya to actually seek for help, because hindi naman para sa'yo yung hinihingi mo, you're asking for the community. So that's how we started. So we started a movement in 2016. It's called Candon Youth for Empowerment Movement. So the primary goal is simple, to be a force for good in our communities. So whatever issues they have, yung mga young people na to voices out, to our movement, and then we help, find links, or we help them address the issues that they may have. So that was simple. We wanted to see more of leaders, train them, and actually become ripples in their communities. So we started with small. We started with 20 young passionate leaders at that time, and now through the years it grew. We were looking at them, mga 200 plus na siguro yung dumaan sa amin, more or less 200 plus. And minsan madami ng inactive, tas nag-active ulit. But what matters is that, with the youth movement, hindi naman kasi yung indicator mo is not the quantity at the moment, because, this is a very critical stage for young people because mag-aaral sila elsewhere or magtatrabaho sila, uunahin nila yung economic concerns sa buhay nila. And that's okay. To us, that's okay. Kung tapos na yung role mo sa kanila, that's okay. So yung mga 200 to 250 na yung dumaan na young leaders sa amin, and they're now on their own paths, doing their own things. Then panibagong cycle na naman, panibagong training na naman ng young leaders. So that's how we are. But once a CYM, always a CYM. So that's how we look at them. Next slide, please. So these are the programs that we actually started. So later on, I will expand isa-isa para then you have ideas. So minention ni Quiel kanina about advocacy. So I will actually mention the advocacies that we have here. So this emerged through the consultations that we had with them. We had sleepers campaign, during typhoon, disaster risk response, of course, with the Farm Ambassadors program, Ambassadors to the Farm, Healthcare for All, of course, the HIV and AIDS prevention. We're also active with SOGI advocacy, also have the library, Kabataan. This is one of one of the flagship programs that we have, women empowerment programs. Of course, during the pandemic, we also had some, ikukwento din namin what we did during the pandemic when mobility was hampered. And of course, some empowerment stories. Okay. So as to date, just to give you an idea of the quantity that we've reached as of September, so this is outdated, so October na ngayon, we reached a total of 114,247 already, from among the programs that we've been doing. So ikukwento ko as we go along. Next slide, please. So of course, yung sleepers campaign that I mentioned earlier. So this was actually, if marinig mo siya, it seems like a dole-out project, but this was very instrumental because it was our entry point to our communities. We've reached over 40 schools and barangays in total of over 4,500 pairs. So the young people were the ones who actually conducted social audit in elementary schools na, wow, parang 4,500 pala yung mga gutay-gutay at burn out yung sleepers. So in a sense, it's a disturbance in our part because kung hindi siya makabili ng tsinelas, uunahin yung pangkain, uunahin yung ibang kailangan sa bahay. So sabi namin, it wasn't just a dole-out program because it allowed us to have a deeper relationship with our community, because that's when people started to open up about how they share. For instance, a young student na nakausap namin share na they share, toothbrush with their moms, or, and these are all heartbreaking. So stories in the communities are very important because, you cannot just prescribe programs. You cannot say, oh, kailangan natin ng ganito because ito yung laging ginagawa. Kailangan nating magpa-feeding kasi ito yung ginagawa. No. It comes in different forms, so you really have to sit down with them and you really have to know what they need better, because sometimes we do programs for the sake of doing programs without actually, delving deeper into what is more important. So I'm not saying na hindi maganda yung mga ginagawa nating programa, but because if we come to think of it, is this something that the community really needs? So I think, sa lahat ng kwento namin, lagi kong ini-involve yung Sleepers Campaign because this was the birth of other programs in our youth movement. Next slide, please. So this is a summary of the Sleepers Campaign that we did here in Candon. Actually, it sprang from not just in elementary schools, but also in barangays and in other municipalities as well, who actually requested for some sleepers. So if you are interested in actually wanting to know more about your communities, you can start with merely a simple, hindi naman kailangan chinelas campaign, but, a simple activity that would actually commence or start your relationship with your community members. Kasi if walang activity, you just go there, walang avenue to talk. Next slide, please. It's another, this is another program, when we do response during disasters. It's actually, this is one of the stories that we have. It's a crowdfunding initiative in 2021 during the marine typhoon. And we're so glad that, na nagtulungan talaga yung mga kabataan, and we didn't realize, that, given the limited time that we have, we were able to raise this much. So next slide, please. We were able to raise, worth 1,348,746.92 for 3,450 households. So again, this was in collaboration with our partners, with our supporters, private individuals. Again, we're doing all this initiative outside of our LGU work. So this is actually the youth movement's work already. And, I'm very involved, sa pagpapak, sa, pagkakausap ng mga taong tumutulong. Actually, nakikita mo yung padami ng padami, yung mga tumutulong during the repacking, because, people who are from, people, minsan if you involve those people who are also partner beneficiaries, as we call them, the project are most likely to become successful because they're part of it. So a lot of people, yung mga tumulong sa repacking are also part of communities affected. So we're very happy that, we were able to tap a lot of volunteers and partners for these initiatives. And, without a doubt, we would do it all over again. Should there be, should there be a typhoon. So these are the snapshots of what. So COVID time pa ito. So that's kind of challenging, especially with mobility. So yeah. So mga farmer communities namin, mga women groups. So ito yung mga tinarget namin, and yung COVID affected areas. Next slide, please. So, another is that this is one of our flagship programs. So I've mentioned the story of Erickson earlier, who was really who lacked motivation, doing farming. So we actually tapped partners who were willing to help us with skills training on the latest technologies and newest farming methods of common local cash crops and livestock. So yung mga innovations like the modified dapog system in rice farming, and the technologies in multi-crop production, tinuro lahat sa amin yun. And I'd like to highlight one story that has actually, so it's the program is called CYM Palayamanan Program. This is also, it didn't only target young people to be part of the actual farming experience. Somebody lent us a land to till. So one of our board of trustees owns a land, and pinahiram niya yun sa amin. And yung mga old farmers who were so difficult to tap, actually, because they've been there for a long time already. And natutuwa kami that slowly pinapanood lang nila yung mga young people, and then later on they're already applying those in their farms. And nakakatuwa that one of the oldest farmer partner that we had was Tang Abat, and he said that sa tinagal niya mga 60 years na siyang farmer, and he said that yun lang yung time na ganoon kataas yung yield niya. That was the only time that he had that high yield because of the interventions. And I think that is actually a real help to the community, pataasin yung yield, pataasin yung income, pataasin yung antas ng pamumuhay. So, and also another kwento is Richelle. So, she was a member since 2017 and she's actually a political science graduate. But yun yung sinasabi ko kanina na even if they graduate from another course, they end up farming anyway because they have land to till. So, for her, she's still farming up to this day, and nakakatuwa that kinukwento niya sa akin na dahil sa farming, naka-invest ako ng bahay, ng sasakyan, sa farm equipment, may emergency funds pa. So alam mo yon, with the interventions that you have, sometimes, you just need mga kwentos na ganito. I'm so, my heart is really elated parang hearing these stories. Not just that, Erickson, who I've mentioned earlier, who is who lacked motivation, is now a manager for a big seed company na nakakatawa that through the program that we have na ituloy mo yung na i-direct mo siya doon sa kung saan siya talaga. So right now he's also working with small communities, small farming groups na ina-apply niya yung mga natututunan niya sa program. Next slide please. So ito yung mga snaps that we have in our pilot site. Now, we moved from our pilot site already. So we're now venturing into backyard farming. So sabi namin, kailangan may hangganan din yung, yung training. We have to see them, in their own fields already, in their own farms already. So ayun si Richelle sa taas. Dito yung farm niya, visit namin siya recently. And that's Tang Abat, yung oldest farmer partner namin. And we also conduct some grand harvest festivals every year. So we invite different stakeholders to actually get to witness yung mga modern technologies sa farm. And also we conduct accounting 101 for our farmers. Next slide, please. Of course, yung healthcare for all advocacy namin, we conduct medical missions. So this medical mission was in partnership with a different LGU because apparently I proposed this to our to our city at that time, but they declined it. But that's okay. The people from our community were invited to join this medical mission, so we were able to reach 1,500 beneficiaries, and a lot of medicines were given, million worth of medicines to beneficiaries. 1,000 pairs siguro of reading glasses were also given. Of course, we've also devoted series of medicine distributions in other municipalities. So this is in Cervantes, Ilocos Sur, as far as Boston, Oriental Mindoro. We've also reached that community. So nakikita nyo that in a simple activity, madami ka talagang pwedeng ma-reach. And you're not just confined with your own jurisdiction, but it's inevitable that you really at some point you really need to expand. So nakakatawa that it's not just merely conducting medical missions. It's actually forging partnerships, helping more communities. Next slide, please. So this is one of the advocacy that we're really very passionate about. It's something that we acted on at that time in 2017, when our city was has the highest number, the prevalence of HIV at that time, and in the Ilocos region. And somebody has to stand up, an advocacy that nobody is really keen about, or we have some advocates pero hindi siya ganon talaga na amplify. So we started actually gathering stakeholders at that time, partners. At that time, nakakatuwa, it's minsan nagawa ko yon because if walang experts dito, parang saan ka, where will you turn to, diba? So what I did was I actually messaged organizations who are actually active with HIV and AIDS prevention. So nag-message ako sa Facebook. So whoever responds actually yun yung pag to where we will seek help. So we were so fortunate and grateful for the partnership that TLF Share and Hash, the HIV and AIDS Support House, is giving us up to this day. So we started really, we were aggressive in this advocacy since 2017, and up to this day we conducted training of trainers, we've conducted peer educators campaign, we conducted community-based screening, and up to this now we do this discreetly, this advocacy, because there are a lot of stigma to this, and nakakatuwa that a lot of people living with HIV are already organizing themselves. One of our youth members is a PL HIV, and nakakatuwa that out of the experiences that we're all having, he started mobilizing a group of PL HIV, and they're all helping in the advocacy. And that's one thing that we're very proud of. You just have to trust that people can do it. Even these people are marginalized, and natutuwa sila na may mga nagtitiwala sa kanila. So as mentioned, we had broad part of networks. We also spread the advocacy to nearby municipalities of Candon, to different schools, campuses, hospitals, bars, restaurants, beauty parlors, and even to places where they usually gather, like tambayans. Tina-target namin sila, bumababa kami to actually conduct HIV one-on-one, and we have a very committed partner right now who does the HIV and AIDS screening, Lakasandila Medical Clinic and Lakas Yakap youth movement here. We're actually, if we have requests for HIV screening, HIV one-on-one, they're always there to back us up. So up to now, and we're now a part of the coalition called Network to Stop AIDS Philippines, and so glad that we're one of the organizations that they had for the conduct of yung HIV amendment, yung amendment to the HIV law, and nakakatawa that we're part of it. Next slide, please. Of course, SOGI, kabit-kabit kasi. So when you ventured into one advocacy, you cannot turn a blind eye to an advocacy or to an issue that is connected to that, because you cannot do HIV/AIDS without doing SOGI. Human rights, not just SOGI actually, but human rights. So in schools we conduct we acknowledge the fact that we can only do as much, but what we're doing in this advocacy is that we go to schools, we educate young children, because we believe that you have to start in the academia, teaching them that it is not only, the color is not only black and white, we have different colors of the rainbow, and that's how we explain that to young people in schools. We use this storybook, focused on SOGI, and we actually, advocate for the principles that we believe in. Of course, equality, that's the major advocacy that we want to proliferate for this one. So it's actually still an ongoing advocacy. So with our organization, kung hindi natin i-acknowledge yung pagkakapantay-pantay, how can we move forward with other advocacies? Next slide, please. So yan, yung mga storybook readings that we're doing, accepting, accepting our members who are members from the LGBT and joining we're also joining mga pride events all over. We allow them to express themselves. We allow them to be themselves, because you cannot get your best when you're not your true self. Next slide. Of course, this is one of the things that we're really very passionate about. In the level of legislation, we're actually proposing library ordinance that would create a council to talk about the issue of the lack of library in our community. But then, because I'm the lone minority and they think they don't need my help, it dies in first reading. The measure dies in first reading, but that's okay. So what we do is that actual implementation of the things you want to see, no? So in partnership with NGOs, we took the initiative to provide books for elementary schools and aid in communities setting up for their own local libraries. So it's not just schools, actually. We partner with churches. During the pandemic, we tapped churches, community corners that can offer space for the book donations that we have, para may mapuntahan pa rin sila, because iba pa rin yung online and yung talagang actual libro na hinahawakan mo. Even in schools also, it's not whole library, but as long as we have the book donations, we turn over them to schools paunti-unti. So from then that we started the advocacy and program up to now, continuous pa rin yung advocacy namin, yung drive namin for book donations. So Library Renewal Partnership is a good partner for this one, and some private individuals. We are also active in doing the pagbasa activities. So there are a lot of issues, especially during the pandemic, that they have low reading comprehension. So in a way, we want to inspire young students, to like reading, to like books. So that's our library project. Yeah, so those are the books, yung mga old books that we replaced yung dito sa left side. So pinalitan namin siya nung mga this was, I think, in partnership with Jesse M. Robredo Foundation. We set up a school, a library in one school, focused on storybooks for children. So yeah, next slide, please. So ito yung mga snippets. So we also don't go to churches. We also go to restaurants. So as you can see, yung nandito sa baba na may table. So that's a restaurant here. And so yung nasa taas, it's a church. Ito, it's a school. Ito, library yung nasa taas. So those are the different snaps of the library project that we have here. Next slide, please. Of course, we are operating in the issue that we're very, very well aware of the misrepresentation, the underrepresentation of women in public spheres, especially in executive positions. We acknowledge the fact that even if you look around, I mean, it's very rare to see women, women majority in the council. Sa mga SKs nyo, sa mga barangays nyo, even if you realize it, oh nga, no, bakit really male dominated? So a lot of our issues, in our communities, women issues are put to wayside because walang nagre-represent sa kanila. That is why we're all here. I am here, and actually, I want to encourage, especially yung mga kababaihan dito, mga young women, not just kababaihan, but those who have a genuine concern for women kasi hindi mo ipinaglalaban yung you know yung gender over others, you know, once na naalagaan mo yung concerns ng kababaihan, naalagaan mo na rin yung concerns ng iba. And of course, it dates back from history na talagang madaming mga pinagdadaanan ng mga kababaihan, madaming yung violence that they experience in the community. So that is why, by all means, this is up and running program at up to this day, and this is in partnership with the UP Center for Women's and Gender Studies. So we actually train young women, feminist brand of leadership. You can train women, but you know, sometimes if they're not feminist, iba pa rin yung kind of leadership. So feminist brand meaning transformative, inclusive, rights-based, yung values that we believe in dito sa advocacy namin. So we just don't train young women, but we have to ensure that we have to instill in them feminist brand of leadership. Next slide, please. Of course, it didn't just end by actually training them, but actually allowing them to implement their own advocacies in their own communities. And of course, we actually make them experience we allow them to witness firsthand yung mga local leaders from national and local, pinamit namin sa kanila para ma-inspire sila, women leaders. Next slide, please. So this is actually Snaps, si Mother Percy, if you're familiar with him. Yes, Miss Maya Tamayo of Angat Bayi, who I'm also part of the Angat Bayi Fellowship. So I'm very grateful for that, and other partners like the Office of the Vice President, and the Canada Fund. I think that's one of our partners in this one. So the second phase, we're doing it at the local level. So we're actually fine-tuning some details. So we're planning to partner this with JCI local partners here, JCI chapters here, and it's still being planned. Next slide, please. Of course, during the pandemic, so all of us quietly struggled. I think this is not just exclusive sa amin, but also to most of us, you know, organizations, churches, schools. I was actually even I was pregnant at that time, and I saw that as a, you know, major challenge in terms of mobility, but we didn't stop. You know, we actually honored frontliners and backliners at that time, and we acknowledged the fact that you know, hindi lang yung frontliners yung mga kailangan i-acknowledge, also the backliners, sabi ng backliners, the moms who are actually cooking for their kids, nag-aalaga sa mga bata na nagmo-module. And to us, we had to be creative in our ways and means. So talagang yung creative juices, I mean, nag-double, nag-triple. So we looked into activities that would still involve young people to care also for their mental health. So what we did was we conducted, next slide, we conducted so this one, anti-COVID vidco, Salibataan, Kasali ang Kabataan, Sining sa Krisis. It's an actually contest, online contest for kids, you know, to conduct, to express themselves through art, and, you know, lakbay, kwento, kwentuhan, storybook reading online. And of course, we also distributed IEC materials to prevent COVID-19. So we also have this still ongoing programs, pamamahagi ng saya. We sabi namin every year na namin gagawin, because it's really actually helping the local farmers here, buying the vegetables from them, and actually honoring those modern day heroes that we have here. So it's called Pamamahagi ng Saya program, and the pakwan para sa bagong bayani ni Juan. We buy watermelons from our local farmers here, so as to help them, because during the pandemic, it was really a challenge for them to actually sell their produce. Next slide, please. So this were even before Patricia noon, conceptualized this veggie bouquet, we were already doing this in Candon. So this for some of the snaps. So this is my child. This is Ino over here, yung nasa baba na baby na naka-blue. So I'm involving him to a lot of community work because sometimes kung wala akong yaya, dinadala ko talaga yung anak ko sa sa mga communities para din makita niya yung ginagawa ng nanay niya. Next slide, please. Of course, here are some of the, I can go on and on with some of the advocacies, but we also just nagpick lang kami ng mga highlights of some of the advocacies that we have, but we have a lot more. But I'd like to relate some empowerment stories that we have. So this is Nigel, yung nakwento ko kanina. So at one point, she left work to advance her advocacies, and nakakatuwa that she's one of those who are now forefront of our HIV advocacy here. I mean, she speaks, all over to advance our HIV and AIDS prevention advocacy. And also PJ, who wherever you go, he's now studying a master's, I think, in education. So he's a registered midwife already. So he's still bringing with him the advocacies that we have. Next slide, please. So Nigel participated in international conferences, like in 2017 we sent her to Bangkok, and I think also in the Netherlands to represent us in the country. And patuloy pa rin yung paghahanap namin ng mga means and ways so as to better ourselves, because that's very important. As young leaders, we yung alam natin ngayon, feeling natin alam na natin lahat, but no, we have to find means, we have to find non-stop tayo mag-find ng partners for us to do better for our communities, because sometimes things that we do are obsolete already. So we have to sometimes revolutionize our ways and means in doing some of the things that we're doing. Next slide, please. Of course, PJ, to quote him, he said, it's important that we let the youth forge their own paths, even if they have to break traditions. Sinabi ko kanina, breaking traditions can be a good tool for innovation. What hope can the future hold if we do not guide the youth towards transformation? So look at the mindset that they have, at the one point, we have few resources, as of all the programs that I, related earlier. These were all private and sometimes personally initiated, and for as long as you have partners, you have people who believe in your cause, I think you'll be okay. You can advance that as long as you've established credibility along the way. I think hindi ka mahirapan mag-tap ng partnerships. Next slide, please. Not just PJ, we also want to make mention some of the stories. Ito si Erickson, yung mentioned ko kanina, agriculture graduate, who was lost his motivation at one point, and he said, ang CYM ay parang CYM is a Candon Youth Movement, our youth organization here, ay parang isang mapa na nagbigay ng direction sa buhay ko. Pag CYM ka, ilalagay ka sa tamang direction kung saan ka dapat mapunta. So nakakatuwa to hear, these testimonials from them. Next slide, please. Ang sabi naman ni Wella, kung siguro hindi ako singer ngayon, yung pinaka-dream ko dati maging teacher, hindi man ako professional teacher, at least naranasan ko maging teacher dahil sa pagbasa. So through the advocacy, we hear some narratives, and narratives are a very powerful tool to actually measure, parang are we doing okay? So, ito yung mga ginawa namin. We interviewed them. Next slide. Sabi ni Agatha, it was more on public service why I decided to join CYM. Pag may program ang CYM, masaya lagi ang puso ko. And that's very important. You should be happy with what you're doing. Sabi ni Jenna, ang CYM nilabas niya ako sa comfort zone ko. Ever since lumabas ako sa comfort zone ko, madaming opportunities ang nagbukas and madaming kakaibang experiences ang naranasan ko. So she now works for me actually in the council, but she's still very active with the Candon Youth Movement. Next slide, please. Sabi ni Giovanni, if titignan ko ang skill ko from 1 to 10, dati 2 ako kasi hindi ako maharap sa tao. Ngayon, scale of 10, nasa 9 na siguro yung level of confidence ko when it comes to engagement ko sa community dahil sa CYM. So, Giovanni is now a supervisor in a national government agency, and they're now actually implementing a scholarship program for our less fortunate college students here in Candon. Nakakatuwa that you're able to, you were that germ who's nag-spark for them to be able to implement their own program. So they have an anonymous sponsor abroad na sila yung nagmamanage. Siya yung nagmamanage. Silang dalawa actually. Nung isang CYM member din ng scholarship grant that helps yung mga less fortunate. So siya yung sinabi ko kanina na who had rice and salt for a meal and another meal crackers naman. So he graduated cum laude in his class, and right now I think he's doing his further studies. So nakikita ko yung potential niya further. Next slide. Of course, Vin is active with our HIV and AIDS advocacy. So sabi niya, napalawak ko po yung kaalaman ko with HIV and AIDS as a peer educator and youth. Nabuhayan ako sa kailangan kong i-share ito sa iba. So it's just, pushing young people to be also of service to other people, because that's what's important. With all the things that you do, you just don't do programs, but ensure that there will be people who will be next in line, even if you're out of office already, you're out of it already. You will be ensured that, sooner or later, may mga magpapatuloy with, the advocacies or how you led these programs or the initiatives that you started. Next slide, please. So, Mark Carlo, or Kaloy, as we call him, do I feel empowered within the organization? I am, and I will still be empowered within this organization because dito ako nahubog kung saan kaya kong magdesisyon para sa sarili ko. Dito rin ako nahubog na kaya kong magdesisyon kung ano ang mas makakabuti para sa ibang tao. At I think dito ako patuloy na mahuhubog para mas tumulong, para mas maging empowered para sa sektor na nais ko pang pagsilbihan sa mga susunod na taon. So Mark Carlo is now a law student. Is still very active with the advocacy, and he is he's really he pioneered, nung kasagsagan ng mga during the pandemic. They started community pantries all over here in Candon. Nakakatawa that even that's outside of CYM, you saw that it's a ripple with how you show them, led them the way. They're also initiating their own. Siya yung kasama ni Giovanni mag-conduct ng scholarship grant for the less fortunate college students here. So, nakakatuwa sila. Next slide, please. Of course, si Jeria, join CYM because nakita ko the group is a progressive youth group. Pag pumasok ka, mas lalaki yung mundo mo na there are newer ideas that will add up to your mind at madami ka pang kailangang matutunan at hindi lang kung ano ang alam natin ang nandito at mas bubuksan nito ang isip mo. So Gerald is now working with the DSWD region, and nakakatawa that sinasabi niya that the community organizing that we're doing here in Candon, na-apply daw niya doon sa current work niya. Next slide. And of course, this is Nigel, and sabi niya, dito sa CYM, something that is different and deeper because hindi lang siya simpleng organization o simpleng barkadahan. Kasi you're talking about advocacy, you have mentors. Sorry about that, maingay yung anak. So it would really help you at hindi lang sa mga issues, it would really help you sa personalities. Mas naging wiser, smarter at strategic si Nigel ngayon because ang dami niyang exposure at opportunities na nakuha sa CYM or habang tinatalakay niya yung kanyang journey or habang nilalakbay niya yung journey ng advocacy. Next slide, please. And of course, sabi ni Joanna, dati siyang isang leader na gusto niya siya lang yung nasa spotlight. But now, marunong na siyang mag-delegate at marunong na siyang magtiwala at dumepende sa ibang members dahil nakita niya na mas magiging successful yung endeavor kung lahat sila ay magtulong-tulong at lahat sila ay may passion at ang CYM at hindi lang daw organization, isang pamilya na hawak kamay at balikat na isang laging nandyan para sa'yo. So Joanna is the president of the Candon Youth Movement, the incumbent president. And of course, si Nevane, sabi niya, lumakas daw yung loob niya na gumawa ng mga activities para sabi niya hindi lang para sa kanya but for other people daw. So, nagde-develop rin ako para sa ibang tao at sa organization na meron at ako at na-realize ko na kagustuhan ko maging maunlad na tao. Napagsasabay ko rin pong mapaunlad yung mga taong malapit. So, I think that's the last quote that we have. Yeah, so, and this is, of all the things that we've been doing, it seems like ang dami-dami. It seems like, parang ang daming pera, but no, we were not able to advance all these things if it weren't for our partners. So I think kulang pa ito na logos of our partners. But these are the partners that, held us, through the years at nakakatuwa that they're still there up to now. Next slide. And of course, if you would want to connect with us, here are our details. Right now, we're very active with building coalitions with other youth organizations because we believe that we need to expand, at some point you need to expand. And, if you're helping a local community here, you need to help them. We need to reach bigger communities if we want to actually have, ripples of change, sa iba't ibang areas. You also have to tap other organizations para mapalawak din nila yung mga advocacy. So like right now, we're very active. We call that Agkay-Kaysa Coalition. Agkay-Kaysa ibig sabihin to unify. And actually, we just had our pilot activity. We're focused on environment. I know PMPI is very active with environmental efforts, and this is something that we're all been working for. This is an issue, kung hindi natin pinapangalagaan yung environment natin, wala yung ibang other advocacies. So like right now, we're working hand in hand with other organizations to advance our advocacy in environment. And I think you just have to have that common ground, all of you. And mapapalawak mo yung mga iba't iba pang advocacy. So I could go on and on, but I know that we still have more time for discussion. Sorry for nag-overboard na po ata ako, but please, if you have further questions, if you want to connect personally in terms of leadership, personal development, you can contact me, Joanne Valdez. You can look up sa profile ko, and I would be happy to help. Kahit mag-PM kayo, I was, I have questions on this and that. So, yun lamang po. So, thank you po for this opportunity, PMPI. And I hope that you were able to get a thing or two from the narratives that we have here.
Sorry. Thank you po, Councilor Jo. Actually, nag-message na po si Sir Justin ng Young Public Servants na kasamahan ni Sir Quiel that they would want to connect with you. Yun po. You can connect siguro after this. Thank you po for inspiring us, Councilor Jo. Parang gusto na naming lumipat dyan sa Candon para magkaroon ng mga programang katulad ninyo. it is so inspiring to learn what a young leader like you could do, who really has the heart for service. And yung pag-tap mo ng mga resources, it was so inspiring that you not only did you encourage the youth, but also the elderly to work together. And kakaiba pala talaga yung nagagawa nun, especially in agriculture, which is a very, very important industry in our country. So thank you po. I'm sure a lot of listeners now are inspired to vote for leaders who are like you. Kasi ito pala yung nagagawa kapag ang leader ay katulad mo. But also, to be leaders like you. Sana sa komunidad nila, madala nila yung inspirasyon na binigay niyo po sa amin. So, if you have any questions, ito na po yung chance para sa mga katanungan para kay Councilor Joanne. I think marami po habang nag-iisip yung mga tao ng katanungan, I would like to remind po na sana yung palitan yung names po ninyo, yung organization, medyo nakakalito lang, pero dun sa evaluation po mamaya na ibibigay namin, sana po ang maisulat ninyo ay yung buo ng inyong buong pangalan ng inyong organisasyon. I think meron ditong CYM Marbel, that's Catholic Youth Ministry from Marbel sa Mindanao. And then we have CYM, yung Candon Youth Movement. So, St. Joseph Institute, taga saan po yung mga taga St. Joseph Institute? Ang dami po natin dito, no?
Candon po, Candon.
Hello po. Ayan. And then, mayroon din po tayong taga Kidapawan. So, Notre Dame of Kidapawan, Notre Dame of Midsayap, meron din po. So, kung meron pong mga katanungan, sige po, I'll give the floor again. So, you could type your questions or you could unmute yourselves and ask your question kay Councilor Joe. Sige po. Po, meron mga tanong. At ito po, meron po tayong tanong sa chat, Councilor Joe from BYEA si Nicole James Manilhig ng BYEA. I think this is Bilar. Sorry po, na-miss na ang dami na rin kasi nag-chat kanina. Sige, baka pwede niya pong Bilar Youth Environment Ambassador. Ito po ay all the way from Bohol, si Nicole. Paano po ba mag-tap sa mga available resources sa community to fund possible advocacies or activities?
Yes, hello. Paano mag-tap ng partners for the
Resources po.
mag-tap sa mga available resources? Well, it depends on the advocacy. If your advocacy, for instance, is about agriculture, so you have to find organizations that are in line with your advocacy. So, for instance, in our case, youth in farming. So, we're able to tap Philippine Rice Research Institute as one of our partners, Department of Agriculture, national government agencies yung mga tinap namin because they have provisions for those programs. Kung wala naman, that's okay, you move on. A lot of times, you will be discouraged because wala silang pondo. But you just have to keep on pushing. You just have to keep on finding partners because meron at meron kang makikita at mag-e-embrace ng advocacy mo. Sometimes your advocacy might be progressive, because at times when you're operating in a very conservative community, we experience this with the kind of messaging that you have or you will have for a certain community. Hindi ka ipa-partner just because there are some things that they don't believe in. So maybe you have to research on the partners or the individuals that you're going to tap for that particular advocacy, or sometimes personal individuals who are very passionate about these things. For instance, yung passionate ka about mental health, you see these people, sa Facebook na lang, yung mga friends mo or kin, nagre-share about, mental health, sumasali sa mga forums on mental health. So I think you can start from there. It doesn't have to be grand. You can start small and actually, gather individuals who are passionate about that cause, and you can move forward. Then as a group later on, you can write. You can also write to your LGU, or you can write to your provincial government. Try lang ng try. Sa akin, I tried a lot of rejections. But the more that I am being rejected, the more na mas nag-strive ka. The more na may hugot ka, the more na pinagtatrabahuan mo. Unlike doon sa binigay sa'yo, hinain sa'yo. Minsan, may pondo tayo dito, the appreciation to the project is very low just because hinain lang sa'yo. But kung talagang pinaghirapan mo yun, nagtap ka ng partners, yung partner mo, nagbiyahe ka sa Maynila para lang i-meet yung partner na yon, I think yung appreciation mo to all these partnerships are very high. So I think to answer your question, it's different, depende sa advocacy mo. You just have to find commonality doon sa mga taong itatap mo, and the values are very important, because sometimes even if they want to help you but it's not in line with yung organization that they're into or yung nire-represent nila, sometimes may hirapan din. So we have to be realistic sometimes. And of course, I always say that, you have advisors, you have people who are willing to help you. You can tap yung mga retired sa communities ninyo. You can start with that, because sometimes, hindi naman nila alam na kailangan mo ng tulong if you don't ask them. So I hope I answered that question.
Councilor Joanne, meron pa po tayong isang question, no? Paano po ma-enhance ang skills sa agriculture po, Ma'am Joanne? This is from Patrick Bataluna from Gawad Kalinga Youth Org at Cebu.
Paano ma-enhance yung skills sa agriculture? Well, it's simple. You have to surround yourself then again with people who are passionate about agriculture. If you have local farmers who are passionate about teaching, technologies, baka pwede kang pumasyal at maglakbay-aral sa mga farms nila. That's how we started. We tap old farmers in our community who are willing to embrace youth causes. At that time, we're very maswerte kasi we tapped one of our board of trustees who was willing to give us a portion of his land for us to till, for us to train. So baka pwedeng makipag-partner with local farmers, and your local LGU, baka possible for them to facilitate yung paglakbay-aral doon sa mga farms that are worthy of worthy of visits sa local area. You can also message me personally. I can link you to a lot of our farm ambassadors here who are willing to extend their knowledge as far as farming or backyard farming is concerned, because we're active now with teaching our young people to grow their own produce in the comfort of their homes sa backyard nila. So mushroom farming. So we have a farm ambassador who speaks TESDA in terms of sa mushroom production. So depends sa hilig mo sa farming, we can actually link you to different farm ambassadors, as we call them.
Thank you po, Ma'am Joanne. For sure, that would be very helpful for all of us here. Another question from Harmiwin Pagawa from SJI. Hello po, good afternoon, ma'am. How can we apply all the leadership skills you have taught us in different aspects, especially in our environment and communities, specifically in our school po as students? Thank you, ma'am.
Harmeen, I'm very happy that you're here. I remember you. She's one of the participants from our leadership training last year in here in Candon. Nakakatuwa that you've been so attentive with the talk. And your question is, how do we apply all the things? How would we apply all the leadership skills that you have taught us in different aspects, especially in environment and communities, specifically in our school po? Well, you can apply that by actually, of course, number one, being you have to deep dive into the community. So you can apply that by actually being sensitive to the needs of your community members. When you're not sensitive, and of course, it's not just in school, Harmeen, you have to go out, if we are in a very in a position where we are tayo yung educated, tayo yung nabibigyan ng opportunities for all these exposures, I think it's but right for us to extend ourselves, to our communities. St. Joseph Institute is a private school. Alam kong mas maswerte tayo. We have a bigger communities to look after. So you can apply that, all the learnings, by actually extending beyond our school, our jurisdiction. So you look around, madaming nangangailangan. We partner with organizations that, for environment, for instance, if you want to apply that, we cannot solve issues in environment alone. So we need partners, we need allies, we need people who will guide us along the way. So I think to answer your question, how do we apply is actually, as SDGs, one of the SDGs ay yung partnership for the goals. We need to work hand in hand, if we want to advance our agenda for the environment, for instance, hanap kayo ng organizations that are nakaparehas natin ng agenda. So like with the Candon Youth Movement, we're very open to partnerships. Like, we're partners already to begin with St. Joseph Institute. So yung student council ninyo can partner with Candon Youth Movement. We can also partner with PMPI for the Rights of Nature campaign that we can advance. So that we're actually working on with Candy. Hello, Candy. So magandang i-explore natin, not just because sometimes we're very focused on, how can we make our communities better, but merong mas bigger communities that is in need of service. So after all, lagi kong sinasabi na sabi parang how do you become outstanding? Yun yung laging tinatanong kasi. After all, being outstanding is not standing out for yourself, but standing up for others. So that's how I actually define leadership at all costs. So, it's not about us, but it's about, caring for others. It's about looking after others who are in need than us, than our own small circle. We have a bigger circle to look after.
Thank you po, Councilor Jo. Napaka-inspiring naman yan, lalo na yung we need to stand up for others. And yes po, for environment, PMPI is working for the rights of nature. So I think we can answer, okay lang po kayo, okay pa po kayo, Counselor? Baka pwedeng 2 questions pa po. May isa pa po.
Yes po, sky's the limit.
Hi. Thank you po. From Miss Juvie, hello, Consijo. Were you able to first-hand experience, do you have any first-hand experiences on false information that gravely affected sectors and communities' outlook, specifically in the projects or programs you created for them? How did you address this?
Well, we are well, some of the advocacies that we have, there are a lot of resistances because sometimes we are very progressive about, the advocacies that you have. Meron at meron talagang sector na matatamaan. For instance, we had this advocacy on, HIV and AIDS prevention, and we're actually, talking to, a group of students, and we had a volunteer who hindi din namin nasala yung presentation niya. So we were called out because hindi swak yung kind of language that they used for the audience, which are the students. It's a group of Catholic students, and we actually understand the point that we need to be responsible in terms of knowing who your audience are and knowing how to deliver your message, and we have an oversight for that, and we are accountable for that. So those things, and we take responsibility for that. So from then on, we're very careful with the kind of messaging that we have. Sometimes with anything that you do, talagang may masasabi at masasabi. But when you're clear with your goal, you're clear with your vision. For instance, we have case in point. We have this advocacy for violence against women and children. So what we did was we created an online campaign. It's a red lipstick campaign wherein we actually, so as to create, the goal was actually to create awareness about the issue that it's happening, that is actually, that there are groups supporting the prevention of violence against women and children. And, some people actually discounted the advocacy because they, their mindset is, red lipstick daw is actually inviting. It's about victim blaming. It's not the right means to do it just because you are actually agitating the rapist to rape you just because you're wearing red lipstick. So those things, it's not false information, but it's more of trying to question the ways and means that you do with some of the advocacies. But sometimes when you believe in that advocacy, we believe that that kind of online campaign has to spark, has to ignite something that would actually initiate a conversation out of it. I think you just have to do it. You just have to do it, and all the other rest are secondary. So yung mga comments na maririnig mo, others na magdi-discount sa'yo, it's up to you how to deal with it. But to us, hindi na lang namin pinapansin because we're very clear with what we want to happen. We want actually people to become aware of the advocacy, and we want them to know that there are groups that are supportive of this advocacy, that they can turn on to this specific groups catering to women who are experiencing violence. So yun, we've had our fair share in terms of false information. Minsan yung ingay sparks from the fact that hindi nyo pa. That's how our mindset is. hindi nyo pa nakikita yung perpendicularity, yung commonality nyo. But I believe, even if you have differences at this point, later on, I mean, makikita nyo yung commonality nyo. And I think we are geared towards that path, that, you know, we don't end seeking partnerships just because hindi kayo nakamit ng commonality at this point. So at one point, you just have to do it, you know, you just have to do your ways, you know, you have to be respectful, you have to consider the fact that one day magiging makatrabaho mo siya. So we just have to focus, and you know, all the other rest are secondary. And you know, acknowledge the fact that may mga bagay talaga na sa ngayon hindi nyo pa pwedeng pagbanggain. It will come a time na baka magkatrabaho kayo, pero wag mawalan ng gana, you know, if you experience all these things, because meron at meron talagang hindi magkakasalungat ang mga kaisipan, ideologies, and mga pamamaraan ng paggawa ng mga bagay-bagay.
Yun, thank you po for answering the question, Councilor. Kung wala na pong tanong, so kunin natin tong oportunidad na to para maka-picture si Councilor Joanne. So sana po makapag-open ng camera tayong mga participants. Sige po, I'll give you time. So I'll acknowledge again yung ating mga participants from Caritas Manila, from Pilar Bohol. We actually with us here na rin yung ating third speaker, si Mr. Normel Bermundo. He is a student leader. That's part of the National Youth Advisory Group on Human Rights under the UN Office of Human Rights. And then we have yung mga taga MSU, Gensan, Social Society. Salamat po, YSLEP, mga taga Candon, taga SJI, yung CYM na Marbel, and CYM na Candon, may CYM from Banga and Gensan and Maitum. Ito po ay mga Catholic Youth Ministry sa based sa Mindanao. So, sige po. I'll take the picture na. Okay. Medyo marami-rami tayo, so keep lang natin ang ating smiles for a few seconds. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Sige. Kung wala na pong tanong kay Councilor Joanne. But again, thank you so much po, Councilor. Ang dami naming natutunan. Ako po, personally, sobrang dami kong natutunan. Sobrang dami kong na-inspire po ako sa mga programa ninyo. Sana nga po magawa namin yung mga, kahit katiting lang ng mga nagawa ninyo. Magawa namin sa mga komunidad namin, sa PMPI. Yun po. Salamat po. So, bago po tayo magtungo sa pangalawa nating speaker, gusto ko lang pong i-remind ang lahat na kung pwede po, change to your full name, yung org and then name, yung inyong mga Zoom name. And then, sa chat po, i-send ng aking mga kasamahan, Ate Danya, Ate Mel, yung evaluation form. So sana po sumagot po lahat sa evaluation form, and then yung mga makakasagot po, kasi yun na rin yung magiging parang attendance, we will send e-certificates po para sa mga makakasagot. So please answer the evaluation form after the event. If ever po, meron din po ito. Okay, sorry. Okay. We will also send yung QR code yung QR code if ever. Ba yung Zoom ko? Nawawala na yung Zoom ko. Wait lang po, sorry. Hi po sa anak ni Councilor
Hello po. He behaved for the last for the last hour. Ngayon, parang gusto niya yatang mag...
Po yung QR code. So you can also scan this, but also na-send na po ba? Baka ayan, na-send po na po ni Ate Danya yung link. Yan. And then I'll also take this opportunity to promote other endeavors of our partners. From YPS, they would also have an information session responding to election-related incidents this coming October 20. So, baka kung interested po ang ating mga kabataan na magkaroon ng karagdagang kaalaman tungkol dito kasi mahalaga rin po na ngayong darating na eleksyon, ano ba yung pwede na, kung may mga insidente, ano yung pwede natin gawin. So you can register at bit.ly YPSX iGov information session. We will also send the details of this event sa chat. So yan, nasend na po ni Sir Justin yung para naman sa October 20. I hope that the participants today can also attend. Okay, and then now, so as our appreciation for Councilor Joanne, we would also, sorry. Yeah. We would also like to award the Certificate of Appreciation for her invaluable insights, experiences, and expertise shared with the participants of the Youth on Local Governance Inspiring Youths to be Leaders, given this October 14, 2023 from PMPI. Again, thank you po. Hi, what's the name of your kid po, Councilor?
Ino. His name is Ino po. Say hello.
Hi, Ino. Sorry, hiniram namin ng iyong mommy for a few hours.
Yaya po kasi ako ng on weekends, wala siyang yaya. So, yaya duties.
Thank you po na naisingit niyo pa rin po kami. Ayan. So, now, thank you po again. We will move on to our next speaker. So, kaya pa po ba or parang kailangan niyo po ba ng 5-minute break or pwede na po tayong magtuloy? Sige, wala namang nagrereklamo pa. So, for our next speaker, he's actually a student leader. So, isa po siyang estudyante. Katulad ng marami sa atin ngayon, I actually met him in an event organized by organized for a workshop on UN mechanisms. And I was inspired kasi nung nakilala ko siya, parang ang bata niya, but he had a lot of things na ginagawa and he knows so many things about the issues of the day and especially about his environmental advocacy. So, nakaka-inspire kasi mas matanda ako sa kanya pero feeling ko mas marami siyang nagagawa kaysa sa akin. So, he is currently a sociology student from the Polytechnic University of the Philippines. I see some social society, so mga katulad niyang kumukuha ng sociology. He is a human rights and climate justice activist, a member of the National Secretariat of the Youth Advocate for Climate Action Philippines, a member of PUP Sociology Society Education and Research Committee, and he is a member of the National Youth Advisory Group on Human Rights under the HR 75 initiatives of the UN Office of the High Commissioner on Human Rights. So ngayon, kung kanina narinig natin yung journey ni Councilor Joanne bilang public servant, yung sharing ni Quiel on what we can do sa local governance. Ito, isang estudyante na tulad ninyo, what you can do sa school and also in the international platform like the United Nations. So let us all welcome Normel Bermundo. Hello? Nawala ba siya? Normel? I think nawala ba siya? Sige. Okay, I'll just contact him. Nandito na siya kanina pero baka nag-ano yung kanyang internet. Let's have a 5-minute bathroom break po, health break. So, let's go back ng 3:45 kung okay lang. Ito na. Andito na siya ulit. He's joining. Pero if ano ba? Hello, Normel, are you there?
Yeah, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Ayan.
Yeah, sorry. Na-disconnect ako sa Zoom. Kaya na pala siya nag-acting up yung Zoom ko.
Sige, thank you. So,
Okay. So, yeah, thank you so go ahead. Okay. So, yeah. So, thank you so much, Attorney Irene, and also the PMPI for inviting me for this forum or webinar. It's actually, parang nape-pressure ako na konti. And then, because of the previous speaker from Councilor Joanne and the previous one, si Quiel. Yeah, sorry, I forgot. Quiel Andrew. Yeah, from YSP ba? Yan. So yeah, and thank you for that introduction. Okay. So I'm going to start with my, paano nag-start yung parang fashion or calling to become a student leader or a youth leader. Okay. So being a student and a youth leader and my advocacy in human rights started in 2017. That is actually when I entered, the school. And eventually, climate justice in 2020. So ayun, being a student and youth leader requires strong communication skills, time management, and the ability, to motivate and inspire others. So it's also involves taking responsibility for the well-being and development of the student or youth you work with. So as a student leader, you can actually develop, valuable leadership, teamwork, and problem-solving skills while making a positive impact on your community. So our knowledge, skills, and creativity can contribute to solving some of the world's most pressing issue. For example, climate change, poverty, inequality, and human rights violations. It is not only happening in the Philippines, but also around the globe. So lalo na sa mga panahon ngayon, di ba? If dito pa lang sa Philippines, we can see that there is a rampant violation of karapatang pantao, mapa-civil, cultural, economic, political, or social rights. Okay, so sa university, yeah, when I first handled my first obligation, I handled the student rights and welfare committee. So akala ko ang parang campaign lang namin is student rights and welfare. For example, karapatang makapag-aral, of course. That's our first campaign. And then what are the others? Yung karapatang express yung sarili mo without without restriction. Like for example, in some universities, if you are in the LGBTQI community plus, you're not allowed to cross dress. You are allowed to color your hair, right? But there are some universities that allow that. And then also, what else? Like for example, yung karapatang mo organize sa loob ng school, kasali sa mga not only academic orgs but also political orgs and also mga civil societies organization, and I while on the process of joining in that organization or in that movement, I realized na being student leader is not all about achievement. It's not all about certificates. It's not all about workshop. Pero syempre, yung mga workshop at yung mga achievement, parang part siya ng process. Okay? But being a student leader is also to communicate and integrate with the masses. That's why I'm so parang natutuwa ako kanina kay Councilor Joanne because their advocacies are very integrated with the masses. Talagang kumbaga lumulubog sila doon sa community for them to know what are the issues, what are the problem, what need to be done. Okay, and also being a student leader, I learned that hindi hiwalay yung issue ng mga estudyante sa issue ng mga masa. Like for example, drivers, commuters, farmers, workers, hindi siya separate. Diba? Like for example, I'm just going to give an example, okay, for this. For example, yung jeepney phase out. Bakit hindi siya hiwalay sa issue ng estudyante? Bakit as a student leader or as a youth or as a student, you need also to parang tanganan yung kanilang campaign. So for the jeepney phase out, maaaring lahat ng iba dito na kabataan o yung ibang mga parents dito is yung ibang kabataan dito maaaring ang kanilang mga parents ay jeepney drivers, yung kanilang kamag-anak jeepney drivers, and then yun yung kanilang source of livelihood, di ba? And then bakit important that we also grasp that a campaign or their fight for their livelihood? Is it because yun nga, yung sinasabi na yung for example sa jeepney modernization, we are not against the modernization. It's just that it should be a just transition. Just transition na kailangan, kina-consider yung livelihood, impact sa livelihood, impact sa other sectors. Like for example, as the commuters. Okay, because there is study na kapag na fully implement jeepney modernization, there is a tendency na magtaas yung mga fares. And then most of us students, most of us commuters, commuting or using jeepney because that's our traditional mode of transportation. Okay, but there is actually a financial support from the government. And I would like to commend that. But however, it is parang not enough, to cover the expenses when it comes to, buying the jeepney itself, the modern jeepney, and also the, what do you call this, the maintenance. And also there is a concern that when that happen, yung availability ng transportation is parang magkukulang kasi hindi naman lahat nga ng jeepney drivers ay kayang bumili ng isang unit ng modernized jeep. So there is maybe kakulangan ng transportation due to consolidation of franchise and fleet management. Ayun. So that's why hindi siya hiwalay yung parang kampi ng mga drivers sa maaaring maranasan natin mga estudyante or kabataan. So way back, aside from student rights and welfare na dinala natin sa loob ng pamantasan or kahit sa labas man sa community ng Manila o ng Santa Mesa, ay for example, yung issue ng mga ang ordinaryong tao, pagtaas ng presyo ng mga basic goods and social services, di ba? Like for example, in my university, PUP is actually a very diverse university. I have a classmate. I know some people that came from Mindanao, Visayas, and northern part of Luzon that flew here in Manila, just to study in PUP because of maybe before the free education is because of the affordable tuition fee, which is 12 pesos per unit. Yan. So bakit kailangan na alam din natin or dapat natin ding i-grasp yung concern ng mga ordinaryong mamamayan or consumer when it comes to pagtaas ng mga basic goods and social services. Is it because yung mga magulang natin, mga kabataan dito sa webinar, yung mga magulang natin, syempre sila yung mga nagtatrabaho, to provide foods for us, to provide daily needs, pambaon, pamasahe, di ba? So that's why we need to question and also we need to ask and answer from our public officials or government what are they doing, para maibsan yung pagtaas ng mga bilihin. Yung pagtaas ng bilihin pero yung sahod is nananatiling mababa for the workers or hindi mababa, di ba? So ayun, and aside from that, aside from being a human rights advocates, I also a climate justice advocate. So yun naman, so ating pagkasamahin ng climate justice and human rights it is actually not hindi siya hiwalay din. It's supposed to be together. Okay? Because dapat yung mga transition from non-renewable to renewable energy should be a human right-based approach. Okay, we need to consider the impact, the livelihood in that particular community. Like for example, if the government wanted to magpatayo ng mga windmills, and di ba ang mga windmills kalimitan natin sa mga lugar kung saan open air, o minsan sa mga tabing dagat, di ba? They need to conduct further study to that area, kung ano yung impact. So yun yung tinatawag nating dapat link sila lagi. Okay. So ayun, some of my experiences, with as a student leader is we conduct like mga tawag doon, lobbying. I'm also part of the free education, parang yun yung law. Way back in 2018, I was there in Congress, through Kabataan Party List. I was there, and we are lobbying the bill, to be to support the bill. We are talking to the congressman one by one, and also we go to the Senate in Pasay. We also lobby there, and then that is actually a great success. It is not only me, but it is to all of those students and youth, and also to those other sectors that support the free education, di ba? So tagumpay natin mga kabataan yun sa kanang yung free education. Ayan. So what else? So yun, aside from yun, sa inside the university na mga experiences, I also join the campaign, for example, with the workers, because for example in our school, in our university, last 2018 or 2017, there is a mode to change the agency of the janitors there. So janitors there are like may mga nanay ko na din at tatay ko, because we're so close. And then what happened here, what happened is so the endo or the construction section is actually hindi naman talaga siya end. Dapat siya ng mga agency base, yung iba, not all sector of service, na parang napalitan siya ng agency base. So ang mangyayari is pa nag-change ng agency yung university, entertainment agency, and then kukuha ng current agency, ma-float yung mga tawag doon, yung mga janitor, because the agency need to look for other employer or yung parang i-hire agency nila, di ba? So what we do is we conduct a human rights education to the workers, ano yung karapatan nila according to the labor code, di ba? And according to the Philippine 1987 Philippine Constitution, ano yung karapatan nila bilang manggagawa. For example, karapatan nilang mag-union, di ba? And then karapatan nilang ipaglaban yung kanilang kabuhayan. So yeah, so what happened in that campaign or fight, it is actually a big success. You know, the university decided to uh, retain the agency. So actually, with those campaign that I mentioned earlier, and what we earn is actually parang nakakatuwa na yung mga sinasamahan mong yung sa paglaban sa mga karapatan nila as a student leader or as a youth leader, and then nakita mong masaya sila kasi nagtagumpay yung kanilang adhikain ng kanilang paglaban sa kanilang karapatan, is parang nakakataba ng puso, fulfilling, di ba? For me, for example, fulfilling na makita ko yung mga pinsan ko na they are, you know, enjoying the free education right now from the, you know, from state universities. So yun. So now, I'll go now sa paano ako napunta ng UN. So previously, before ako mapunta sa Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, way back in 2018, I also become a UNESCO Youth as a Researcher, or tinatawag na YAR. So, you know, what we do is we conduct, you know, survey. That is a remote volunteer job because, you know, it's a pandemic, lockdown. So yun. And then, ayun, and after that, I continue with my my advocacy with you know, human rights, but that is actually mostly what do you call this, online, because it is hard to go on ground because, you know, pwede kang mano ng violation, di ba, ng protocol. Okay, so working with the United Nations can also be you know, a great opportunity, you know, to a global development or for your development efforts, and also you can learn about diverse culture and perspective. So okay, actually the United Nations, you know, is actually offer various internship, fellowship, and volunteer programs that you can apply on, you know, for a student to gain first-hand experience in international affairs, diplomacy, sustainable development. And this program provide valuable networking opportunities with the youth and student. Okay, so for me, parang maging part ng National Youth Advisory Group on Human Rights, it's an opportunity for me. Okay, so the HR 75 or the Human Rights 75 is actually the initiatives of the United Nations Office of the High Commissioner on Human Rights. So the selection process for this is very competitive. They receive 2,000 application around the world, and many of them from the Philippines. Okay, so dahil nga, but unfortunately, we're not accepted to the Global Youth Advisory Group because I think there's a reason. Maybe there's are, you know, more capable than me or more deserve to be in that part. So they select 11 individuals around the world, and happily there are one from the Philippines. Her name is Venus Alves. She is the currently Global Youth Advisory Group that you know, meeting with the, you know, in Geneva, and she is a transgendered. Ayun. So yun, di ba? So after that, because there's a lot of application from the Philippines, they open the National Youth Advisory Group. So parang 200, and then they also do the screening process for the National Youth Advisory Group to get the final 11, you know, for the ENYAG. So yung selection dito sa ENYAG is they select the applicant according to their sectors. So me, I am a youth in environment, so that's yun yung aking sector, and we also have in civic rights, indigenous people rights, gender inequality, cultural. Yeah, we have all of them, and we have also youth and students. So so yun. So with this one, I'm just going to get my documents here. Hold on. Okay, so nagkameron kasi ng Global Youth Consultation yung Global Youth Advisory Group. So parang nagkameron ng survey. Hold on. Just going to pull it up here. Okay, here it is. So nagkameron ng Global Youth parang Global Youth Consultation na kung saan yung mga student and youth leaders, human rights advocates around the world is nag-gather para magkameron ng consensus kung ano yung mga pressing issues around the globe, and also what are they gonna suggest to the government, to the government, to the international government organization, CSO, para mapapatuloy yung yung pag-advance ng karapatang pantao. Okay, so I'm going to discuss what we are doing right now so far with the ENYAG. So right now, as Attorney Irene mentioned, we met in the UN mechanism workshop. Yan. So UN, they are sending us, the invitations, to attend the workshops, and also, for us to grasp how is it like, to work, or how is the UN is working. So with that, UN mechanism workshop. I also attended the UNGP, or United Nations Joint Program on Human Rights in the Philippines. Yan. So with UNGP, we discuss the human rights cities, kung paano yung mga key cities in the Philippines, yung mga local government is implementing their human rights parang strategy on how they can promote human rights in the local levels. So this is with the partnership with the CHR. So what else? So ayun, and also we are working with the different CSOs, CHR, and the UN about the UPR, or Universal Periodic Review, where we are reviewing what are the pledges, or what are the need to be done that is written there, that ano ba yung mga nagawa na ng Philippines so far when it comes to human rights, or when it comes to advancing human rights in different sector. So yung ENYAG, or yung National Youth Advisory Group, this initiative actually seek to increase knowledge in the universality and indivisibility of human rights. So especially among young people, it should be inspired them to create a movement of shared humanity, while empowering them to fight for their rights, and be the front of their fights for our rights, so we can fulfill the saying, ang kabataan pag-asa ng bayan, sabi nga ng Rizal. Okay, because actually I met someone from the CSO that I work with, and they mentioned that they are too old, and they need the youth to take the front line when it comes to human rights defending, to defend the human rights. Okay, so it's actually a calling for all of us youth that we hold the torch, okay, and to continue their fight that they started decades ago, or like 50 years ago. Yes. Okay, so the role of student and youth in our society is crucial. We have a duty to fulfill. Our action have the power to shape the society we live in, and we must take our responsibility by gaining knowledge, being actively involved in our communities, and participating in policy making. Okay, so actually, when we met our colleagues in UN, we actually reiterate that we don't the youth actually don't want to be just an observer. We wanted to participate in the past policy making itself. Okay, because youth opinion matters. Okay, and also as a student and as a youth, we must recognize our importance in our role in our society and work towards, fulfilling our duty as a duty to the best of our abilities. So overall, being a student leader and working with the United Nations, especially to this HR initiative, before that actually, the HR initiative is actually a 75th year anniversary of the Universal Declaration of on Human Rights, or the UDHR, and it will the major event is on the I think December 10, yeah, the International Human Rights Day, where there will be a lot of activities, and also a major events that that the government, the CSOs, and then the international governmental organization will gather, to tackle pressing human rights issues in all sectors. And yeah, so being a student leader and working with the UN can be rewarding and enriching experience. It requires dedication, hard work, and willingness to learn and to grow. So it's actually not yung parang pagtulog mo sa gising kinabukasan, yung parang magiging part ka na or andyan na siya, ganun. It's actually a work of day by day experience. And then so yun, by willingness to learn and grow. So by taking on this challenge, you can make a meaningful contribution, to our community, to your community, and to the world. And actually, I'm encouraging the youth to take responsibility, and more of us, to participate in this fight, advancing human rights in all sectors, mapasektor man yan ng kababaihan, ng kabataan, estudyante, magsasaka, manggagawa, mangingisda, indigenous people, environmental defenders, and even our local governments. So I encourage you all to take responsibility and more as to to participate in policy making process of this. So yun lang. Maraming salamat.
Thank you so much, Normel, for sharing with us your time and your story. So it is inspiring that someone as young as you is doing so much. I'm sure that our participants are also doing their own initiatives in their own communities. At sana this event inspired them, your talk also inspired them to do more and to be more active and go out of their communities to explore other opportunities. So if you have any questions for Normel, you can raise your hand or you can unmute yourself and ask your question, or kung medyo shy, you can also type your questions as a chat box. Again, a reminder, please answer the evaluation form with if you would want to receive certificates for this talk. Complete na lang po yung details sa evaluation form, or kung ayaw niyo po sa evaluation form, you can email me at irenepuwa.pmpi with your complete information. Pero kung complete naman yung, if you registered and complete naman yung information nyo dito sa Zoom, you responded to the messages of some of my colleagues asking for your name, email, and organization, but okay na rin po yun. So we all want to give you certificates. Although certificates lang naman yon, pero hindi lang yon. Sana yung nakuha nyo dito, sana po may mga natutunan kayo. So as a show of our appreciation for Mr. Normel Bermundo, we would like to award this certificate of appreciation for his invaluable insights, experiences, and expertise shared with the participants of the Youth and Local Governance, Inspiring Youths to be Leaders, given this October 14, 2023. So yan. I'll send you a copy, ha. Sorry, ngayon medyo online lang lahat. Okay. So, I think wala ng questions. I think comprehensive. You gave us a comprehensive sharing of your experience as a student leader and working in human rights and environmental protection. So thank you again. So if wala na pong tanong, going once, okay. Twice, okay, sige. Now, if you do not have any questions and other concerns, we will now, maaga po tayong matatapos. Salamat. We will now end our forum with a short message from PMPI's campaign lawyer, who is also a young leader like you. He heads many organizations and works for many advocacies. Aside from working for the rights of nature and the anti-mining concerns in PMPI. So, wait. Unfortunately, as he is, he has a prior engagement. He is also a professor at the FEU School of Law. So he sent us a video for all of you.
Maraming salamat sa pag-imbita sa akin sa pagiging...
Sorry, narinig niyo po ba yung audio? Can you chat po? Okay. Wait, sorry. Before the ending, Normel, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay. May pahabol pala from Patrick Bataluna. Paano po mag-manage ng mga members to commit sa time para sa mga activity na magaganap sa community?
Okay. Ang question is, paano mag-manage ng mga members to commit sa time para sa mga activity na magaganap? Okay. So actually, yung, for example, if you are an organization that, sorry, I'll open my yeah, an organization that, you know, has a lot of members, and then sometimes eventually parang di sila naging active, di ba? Common naman sa mga organization, di ba? So, and maybe because they are, you know, busy with, you know, some other thing. Take for example, if you are students, you're busy with your academics. So sometimes, ang maaaring mangyari doon is magkameron kayo ng kamustahan. Yung kamustahan parang, you know, kamustahan, yung kamustahin mo yung kamusta na siya sa kanyang pag-aaral, kamusta sa buhay-buhay, kamusta sa other, you know, aspect of life. And then from there, you can parang know, you can acknowledge what ano yung nangyari sa mga member, what are they going through. And then kasi minsan yung mga members parang feeling nila, for example, if sobrang dami nyo, yung tapos konti lang yung gawain sa org, so minsan parang they are, you know, felt leave behind kasi parang di sila bibigyan ng task like kanyan. So maganda din sana yung mga pag meron kayong mga other committees, in parang mabigyan sila ng gawain. For example, if you have incoming events to your community, parang bigyan sila ng ng gawain para sila ng you know, parang take responsibility. And also yung parang also yung mga workshop inside your org, you know, para maging committed din sila and maging inspired din sila kasi minsan kaya yung mga members sa org is, for example, biglang nawawala or biglang parang inaamad, ganun, tinatamad, ganun. Is it because parang hindi nila hindi nila naalala ano ba yung mission and goal nung ba't ako sumali dito? Ano yung mission and goal ng organization? So, ayun. So, mostly, kamustahin sila. Yun. It is important, lalo na, you know, nowadays. mental health problem is, very parang, laganap. We need to acknowledge that it is our mental, health is also important. So yun, thank you.
Ayan, thank you. So, may hahabol pa po tayong questions. Ayan. I think wala na. Sige, bago pala mag-closing remarks, photo op tayo with Normel. Can you open your cameras, please? Yeah. Open your cameras. Thank you so much for staying with us. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you for everyone for listening. So we're gonna close our program with parting message from PMPI's campaign lawyer, Attorney Josiah Casey. Paki-chat na lang po ako if ever na hindi nyo naririnig yung audio.
Maraming salamat sa pag-imbita sa akin sa pagiging closing remarks nitong event nyo sa Youth on Local Governance. Sana hindi matapos sa seminar na ito yung inyong interest sa pangingialam sa ating gobyerno. Sana magpatuloy ito sa pagiging aktibo nyo at maging mapanuri sa mga nangyayari sa ating mga lipunan. Madalas ating kinukote si Jose Rizal sa usapan ng kabataan. Sabi nga niya, ang kabataan daw ay ang pag-asa ng bayan. Ngunit hindi sapat na maging pag-asa lang tayo. Kailangan din natin ng aksyon. Tayo ang pag-asa ng bayan dahil pagmamay-ari ng kabataan ang kinabukasan. Ngayon pa lang, dapat nakikilahok na tayo sa mga usaping panlipunan. Hindi tayo dapat matakot o mahiya na ipahayag ang ating mga opinyon, pero dapat ang opinyon natin ay nakabase sa science o agham. Kaya importante sa bawat isa sa atin na gamitin ang oras sa pag-aaral sa loob man at labas ng eskwelahan. Sabi nga ni Leon Alejandro, huwag hayaan maging hadlang ang iyong eskwelahan sa iyong edukasyon. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Ang pag-aaral ay dapat may kaakibat na pagsiyasat din ng lipunan. Hindi dapat natin linilimitahan ang pag-aaral sa 4 na sulok ng eskwelahan. Maging mapagtanong. For example, noong pinatigil ng presidente ang pagtaas ng presyo ng bigas gamit ang price control, bakit sa tingin nyo umalma ang mga nagbebenta sa palengke? Dahil hindi sila kumikita. Bakit hindi sila kumikita? Dahil mahal ang bili sa bigas. Bakit mahal ang bili sa bigas? Dahil malaki ang patong ng mga middlemen sa bigas na binili nila ng murang halaga sa mga magsasaka. Bakit may middlemen? Dahil hindi sapat ang suporta ng gobyerno sa mga magsasaka, kaya wala silang kapasidad na magbenta direkta sa merkado. So anong solusyon sa pagtaas ng presyo ng bigas? Price control ba? Hindi. Suportahan natin yung mga magsasaka at tanggalin yung middlemen. Ganong klaseng pagsisiyasat. Ganon kalalim. Gamit ng ganitong malalim na pagsisiyasat sa problema ng paligid natin, makakabuo tayo ng mas komprehensibong mga opinyon na may tamang perspective o perspektiba. Sa ganitong paraan, magagawa natin makatulong sa pagbabago ng ating lipunan. Huwag niyong hayaan na patahimikin kayo dahil mas nakakabata kayo sa iba. Walang monopolyo ng kaalaman base sa edad. Lahat tayo may kapasidad na mangialam. Bilang pag-asa ng bayan, bilang tagapagmana ng kinabukasan, responsibilidad nating makilahok sa mga issues na ating paligid, ating komunidad, na ating bansa. Kaya padayon lang at sana lumakas pa ang boses ng kabataan, especially sa gobyerno. Maraming salamat.
Ayun, salamat kay Attorney Josiah sa pagpapadala ng mensahe. Salamat po sa lahat sa inyo na nagstay, nakinig, nakilahok sa usapang ito. Sana po kahit papaano na-inspire kayo, may natutunan kayo sa araw na ito at maibalik ninyo iyon sa inyong komunidad, mas maipamalita or maipakita sa pamamagitan ng inyong magiging aksyon. Yun lamang po. Maraming salamat. Yung evaluation form, sige, ipa-flash ko po ulit sa screen. So, pwede nang mag-leave, pero kung may mga gusto pang makita lang yung QR code, yun na lang po muna yung flash ko. And then, para po makapag-send kami sa inyo ng mga e-certificates. Again, thank you so much. And also, repeating po yung event ng Young Public Servants in partnership with Insight Gov. Yung information session on responding to election-related incidents, i-repost din po natin yan. Okay? Again, maraming salamat po sa inyo. Bye-bye.